Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another edition of 13 Cards Subject to Change. In case you're wondering, last week's episode, due to a technical error, was lost to the internet ether, but
computer gremlins.
Yep.
I haven't figured it out yet.
But
I apologize.
Leroy and I are back. I think it was just no. Jesse was back last week, but Jesse's back this week after a week off.
Of course.
So
I'll say it again. I didn't say it because nobody heard it last week. Happy anniversary.
Yep.
This is the beginning of year two.
Yep. This is the beginning of year two. Jesse is with us for that.
Mm-hmm.
He was with us last week. Didn't talk about too many things that I think we really need to overly go over from last week. I think we'll be covering a lot of it anyway because a lot of it just kind of has gone into another week of continuing stuff.
Sure.
Number one thing I think we'll start off with today is some big wrestling news. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are a fan of our favorite wrestler on the show, Mr. Red Hair Don't Care, Darren Corbin.
Yes.
Darren Corbin made a surprise return to First Wrestling at the Temple of Aaron.
Or he will have you believe maybe it was a clone of some kind.
Yes, exactly.
Who stole not only his hair, but his sweet-ass cutter.
No, for those of you who were watching Snapped Chat, Part 1 ended with a bit of a cliffhanger. Part 2 of Episode 169 came back, and all of a sudden, ladies and gentlemen, Darren impersonating a referee on an interesting scenario.
He did quite well, and he took out Eric
and Devon Monroe, who again we are fans of both, but Darren loves to make an entrance. He's never not been a fan of himself.
I mean, listen, when he could get the spotlight, he's gonna get the spotlight.
Cut a nice little promo.
He did, yeah. And I think there were
good.
2 shows going on that. So
he actually wrestled the next night as well.
Against Thunderfrog.
Yes, against Thunderfrog.
Gosh darn hammer.
Yes, who he won by disqualification because that dang Eric Cannon just couldn't let it go. He just had to.
Damn that Eric. Hey, I like him, man. I like Eric.
Him and Eric have always had a, let's just say, questionable relationship. That's probably the
very
best.
Tumultuous.
Yes, that's the best one. So, you know what? Not much to say there other than that it is great to know that Darren Corbin has returned. Today he finished in his personal best time, his first 5K as well.
Yeah.
I know his consultant was a little bit confused by him doing a 5K, but hey, you know what? As
him
Darren...
and his bird watching, too.
Yeah, well, yeah.
That was kind of
episode 170 is up.
Definitely check it out. As I sent a message to Darren, I told him, hey, congrats on the
completion of the 5K.
Well, I didn't say that yet. I haven't talked to him. I told him last week about him being on the show. And
Yeah.
I said, hey, it was awesome. It just means that me and Zach got to do a road trip sometime to see you at a show.
Jesse will be right there
if
with
Jesse's
I'll be right
available
there.
too, he can come too.
Well,
so.
and
for the future nut shot you have earned as well.
And also
I'll wear protection that time.
Yeah. and also, so I've actually been rewatching the original Man vs. Food, and the last episode of season 1 was the meter-long bratwurst down in Minneapolis, and all the places he went to down there, like Matt's Bar and the 5A Club. I haven't had an original Juicy Lucy recipe in a long time. I've had some decent pretender kind of ones, but like man, like I haven't had a classic Juicy Lucy in a while.
Yeah, I'm about to say I've heard they've got a pretty good recipe for one.
That'll be on the list for that day.
Oh yeah, but anyway, so a lot of stuff has happened though in wrestling. Let's get to the dud, which was the match we all predicted.
Should we go down the pay-per-view? I got it here.
Okay. Impact. Well, okay. First of all, it's Impact, so it's a dud by definition. But
you harsh son of a gun! It'd been pretty good.
All right, so I say we do the opposite this time. We're gonna get.
Our favorite girl did all right.
Yeah. We're gonna get to the actual good stuff first.
Okay.
So
every other match but the final.
We're gonna get to. Unlike the preview, the results we're gonna give you the good and then the ugly, because there really wasn't a lot of bad, but there was definitely a lot of ugly.
There were some good matches.
But so anyway, Impact Rebellion, which by the way I read did some pretty good pay-per-view buys. They were all right. I mean, it was one of their better ones.
And there's been more subscribers to the
Impact
app now that people realize that they can actually just watch the pay-per-views by just having the app.
Yeah.
You know, the setup WWE used to have
right
before they went to Peacock. and they screwed it up. But I digress. Please continue.
Well, I'll be honest about this. I'll say this: I actually have had less streaming issues with Peacock than I had with the network.
I do agree with you.
So,
yes, I've had some issues with.
So the thing about it is for me is I actually think the Peacock setup for all the WWE programming a little bit better than what they had themselves.
But it's the replay value, not having the replay value right now that I can't stand.
Well, but the one thing that I think is rough there is I don't know if any sport on Peacock is replayed right now. I think Peacock's still working towards that.
So. Champions League, UEFA football, soccer.
Yeah.
Their replay is actually very, very good. But
they've had the soccer deal since
they've had the soccer deal for like over a decade now, though.
Yeah.
So it's not that it's not possible. I know there's some kinks that they're still working out, but
right.
I just do kind of miss the fact that on the network I feel like
though for $1 billion the replay will eventually show up. I mean, when you're paying somebody,
I'm assuming it's a kink they'll have worked out.
Right? Yeah, soon. Exactly. Anyway, so Leroy, what do you have on us on the results of Impact Rebellion, which despite my normal zombie apocalypse promotion joke at the top, was a good pay-per-view minus the main event. But go ahead.
Okay, all right. Well, I'm going to start with they have this numbered. I'm guessing this is the order that it went.
Sure.
All right. Number one was the tag team match. Rosemary and Havoc won, defeating Kimberly and Susan.
Is it me or does Rosemary? Is she not the perfect combination?
Actually, before you finish that thought, it was funny because Susan actually returned in this match as Sue Young.
Because they just have her as Susan.
Yeah.
But she didn't take the L for the team.
No.
And then of course now she's back to being Susan.
Yeah.
Apparently that was kind of just a one-off for them to try to win the gold.
Okay.
But I thought that was an interesting little twist on it.
Is it me or is Rosemary not like the perfect combination of Abaddon and then just a woman that can talk?
Rosemary has actually
Rosemary
been very underrated for years, man.
God.
I mean, going back to her days in Riot Wrestling, she's been super underrated.
She carried Decay, by the way.
She still carries Decay.
Well, no, but like, see, to me, Decay without Abyss just, and it
is strange, but he was
an
also
odd look.
That was you're talking about the later years of his career as well.
Well, yeah, obviously. Havoc's great. Always love watching Havoc.
I love Jessica Havoc, and by the way, for those who get on Twitch, follow her channel. She's an absolute sweetheart. Did a 24-hour. A 24 hours kind of a marathon where she raised money for a pretty good charity. So
fantastic.
Awesome young woman, really good young wrestler.
Awesome.
Only going to get better.
Yep.
All right. Number two was the three-way match for the X Division Championship.
Excellent match.
Josh Alexander defeated Ace Austin, the champ, and TJP.
Can I just say something about this? And I'm going back to the days of Kaz, AJ Styles, Christopher Daniels. Even when Abyss was supposed to crush them, have you ever seen a bad X Division match?
No.
I'm serious.
No.
It always feels like it's a different show.
The X
best way, though.
Matches are always very well done. They're just very excellent. The stories are told very, very well.
It's the opposite.
It's one of Impact's best things that even from their creation issues back in the day.
Right, yeah.
That has luckily the X Division has never been affected, not completely. By it, which has been nice.
And I always say this: the X Division is a train wreck waiting to happen, but it's a train wreck that I want to watch. Whereas AEW does X Division badly. But we'll get to that.
We digress.
I mean, no, but I mean, Jesse, this is kind of the Moxbox rule on the show, where like I don't feel the need to really break down a match that was just good. I mean, there's no real. I mean, it's like I always want people to go and watch it. So my whole thing is, look, we can sit here and talk about it and describe it, and move for move. But I mean, the truth is like I would rather people just go watch it.
Just go find it, get the app. I believe the app is actually only $10 in itself. And I get it, people. There's everyone has an app now.
Yeah.
But
it's the way of the future.
If you can spare the money, Impact is completely worth the $10
that's
a
how
month.
I have watching the documentaries on A&E for Stone Cold and stuff. That's how I'm getting.
Honestly,
that's
for me, since I have Hulu, I'm actually waiting until a couple more debut on live A&E, and then I'm just gonna like kind of binge them.
Yeah, I was gonna say because they usually try to put them on at least a week later.
And that's the only thing I don't have live Hulu, so I can't get it.
I'll say this though.
But
I'll say this
I got
though.
an app,
I am probably looking forward to the Randy Savage one about as much as I am any of them because
that's tonight. That's gonna be
to see it
man.
All right, match number
the third one.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this is interesting. It was violent by design.
Right.
2 of the 3 members wrestled in this match.
Right.
Junior, Joe Daring, and Rhino part of it. But Eric Young accompanied them, and a surprise entry of W. Morsley, otherwise known as Big Cass.
Big Cass XL, yeah. So,
and they won that. They defeated Chris Sabin, Eddie Edwards, and James Harden.
What a shock!
He looked as good.
What a shock! He looks great.
He does.
Well, somebody said they took a picture of Edge.
Yeah.
And then Big Cass.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like...
Now.
It looks like...
and then...
He looks like Big Edge, yeah.
Yeah, basically.
Big Edge. This is what he's going to look like after about 10 years.
You know what? I've said on the show numerous times that he was obviously responsible for a lot of what got him cut from WWE.
Yeah.
But you know what? Here's the deal. Mental health is just something that so many people don't want to talk about. They don't want to deal with, and I'm never mad at somebody getting their life together, getting things right,
which is what he kind of needed.
I mean, Jesse knows coming from the black community. I mean, as my buddy Willie's always said, it's something that just never gets discussed, especially in the African American community.
And it's something that you have to take incredibly seriously.
Yeah,
and thankfully for him, he was able to get the help he needed.
Yeah, no, and it's one of those situations where is the door completely closed in WWE? I don't think so.
I never thought so.
But then again,
that's
only because
for Enzo it could be a little tougher.
Well,
but Cass only got the boot because when you don't follow certain protocol,
and he wasn't at a point in his career
where you have clout to get away with not following that protocol.
Well, like at this point, if you haven't heard the story, what are you doing listening to this show? Shawn Michaels even said DX basically just became don't ask permission, ask for forgiveness, and that led to some really great moments.
Yes.
But by the time DX had happened, Shawn was the guy backstage.
At that point, Shawn was already a made man. Yeah. I mean, Triple H actually took most of the punishment for everything.
Exactly.
That Vince wanted to punish them for.
Yeah,
so.
but yeah, no. I mean, big ups to him. Really hoping that this is the start of, and I'm not even saying back to WWE. I just hope this is the start of something where if he really does want to be a guy who's wanted to do this since he was a little kid.
Yeah.
More power to you. And like I said on this show, we talk a lot about the bigger contractual companies, but that's because that's what you do in the business.
Yeah.
But I mean, truth be told, folks, I mean, I'm incredibly happy for him. I hope he does well. I still want people to be held accountable, but only be held accountable to the point at which you understand your mistakes and you can fix it later on.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah. Men, I said, it's a hard thing for men to admit that there's something wrong.
Yeah.
But I'm glad he's doing it, and he looks awesome.
And that's just it, folks. I mean, he looks about as in shape as Is Melina going to come with him to Impact? I know that hasn't really been discussed yet, but she was not there, and I mean, she's kind of been managing him on the indie circuit.
Yeah, well, because it's clear that whatever deal she had in place with WWE, they've just all backed out of.
Probably.
Because she's clearly not been on their shows.
No.
They haven't mentioned her.
Yeah.
Besides the one little moment of Legends Night. Otherwise, there's a chance. I know she's been doing a lot more, just helping young wrestlers work. Because, of course, one of the big things before he debuted here, and then, I'll let you move on.
Yeah.
Was that he was working in Booker T's promotion down there in Houston.
Oh, Reality's back up and running. I actually didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so Reality of Wrestling.
Okay.
And so that was the first time people had seen him back because Booker had actually booked Enzo for a match.
Right.
Because Enzo is still entertaining. He's just
sometimes
you have to shut the hell up, dude.
Yeah.
Sometimes you shut up. It's okay.
Well, I think we learned, and not to go on a rant about that, I think we learned that sadly in wrestling, even if you're a Joey Ryan, somebody will book you.
Oh, somebody. Well, and I think what Booker T understands about Enzo is if you know how to use him as an entertainment guy, he's not going to win a lot of matches, but he's going to bring in money because he's entertaining as hell.
Right.
So,
and Booker's clearly shown that Vince doesn't mind working with him no matter what Booker does, because we all remember the story about him being asked, well, why were you on the cruise of Jericho? He's like, I'm a grown ass man. I'm going to go where the hell I want. And I'm just like, I don't think anyone's going to argue with Booker at this point. So
I would never.
Yeah. No. But so anyway, really great to see him. W. Morrissey. Morrissey. Thank you.
Because I don't think he's ever going to use his real name.
No.
Because I believe his first name is actually Wesley, but he's never ever decided to use his real name, which is probably smart.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that.
Also a Jets fan like me, so apparently we just like to suffer. But continue.
A lot of suffering there. Yeah. He had a good draft, though.
Had a great draft.
Yeah. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. Here, it's always kind of fun.
All right. We got a singles match. Next was Brian Myers defeated Matt Cardona.
Despite Meltzer giving this a very low score.
Why?
I think it was like 2.25 stars.
Why? The guys,
these guys put on a hell of a match. It was entertaining.
Yeah. What they worked was a really, really good WWE match. Why would he give it a 2 out of 5, though? There was some.
Because it wasn't on AEW television.
There we go.
Probably.
He's not getting paid to review Impact. That's a side gig.
He's getting paid. I don't know.
Anyway, next match.
All right.
Nothing against those guys, but just solid match.
It was. If WWE would have booked them like this and had this match on WrestleMania night 1 to open, you'd be like, that was a fun starter.
Oh yeah. There we go.
Yeah.
All right. This next one, me and Jesse had interest in this one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
The tag team match for the Impact Tag Team Champions. Our girl, Jordan Grace and Rachel Ellering, defeated the champs.
Only her second match. Rachel Ellering is now
a
women's tag team champ. That's pretty awesome.
They
got high hopes for her.
Oh yeah.
Well, people forget the last Heavy on Wrestling show up here. The champion, who will probably no longer be the champion come the next Heavy on Wrestling show, was Taya Valkyrie.
Yeah.
She actually won the match. Kira Hogan was in the match.
Yeah.
So obviously I think, a lot of sort of connection with the Minnesota area, and but hey, Rachel did a great job. Fantastic work.
For those who don't know, the family's from Minnesota.
Yep. But yeah, no, folks, I think that's what people don't get is the level of training that you can get in Minnesota in wrestling. I'm not saying it's the level that Vern could give you back in the day, but Eric's not bad, Ken's not bad. They can teach you a lot of ins and outs of places.
Ken was gonna be he did a really great in Impact, but he was going to be a WWE World Heavyweight Champion.
Oh yeah.
So anything he can teach you, take.
Oh yeah.
And then
without doubt.
Then we have Dishmore, Eugene.
Nick,
and
Nick Dishmore,
he's not in Minnesota, but he's in I think South Dakota, right on the border.
Right on the border there,
he's
very close.
In this area, I'd still count it.
No,
yeah.
You never know though with Taya Valkyrie, not Frankie Monet in NXT, because
I love how she just cut every fan off about the name too. She was just like, I loved the name. I chose it. So
I think people always think maybe WWE forced him.
She was obviously forced to change.
Well, yes, she needed to make her own name if they can't have the rights to do any merchandise with your stuff. That's just you just have to do that.
Well, but what's funny to me is Jesse sitting here saying that, and a bunch of people are going to listen to this and be like, "Oh, well, that's WWE." I'm like, every company does that. Every company kind of makes you change your name.
The only reason why AEW doesn't is because in this case, WWE has something that New Japan has, that AAA has, and it's called merchandising rights.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So whatever name you use, they need to have copyright to use to sell merchandise.
I always tell people, Vince gets this horrible rap, but like you said, AAA does the same thing. Gato's doing the same thing over there in New Japan.
Ugh.
I want to point something out, folks. If you think that Gato is loaning the man that we'll talk about facing Jon Moxley on
in a couple of weeks.
On a couple weeks of Dynamite. We'll talk about that in a second.
A legend.
If you think that Gato is loaning him, nah, man. Tony Khan's paying a nice little check to Gato.
They're
on
paying
that
them
one.
a very nice check for that
my
legend.
Goodness.
Well, hopefully we can see her defend the title and probably lose it on Heavy On. I don't know.
Well, and we got some news to get to about WWE working with another nice mid-range company.
Yes.
So there's always a chance you actually could see her defend that championship in Heavy On Wrestling.
Oh, yes.
All right, we only get a couple more, so we'll whip through the straight. Tag team match.
We have to shit on the last one. So
okay. Finn Juice kept their belts. They beat the Good Brothers.
That was a good match. I actually liked it. I think it's one of those. See, my biggest problem is, and this is the issue that we'll talk about with the main event, is for how strong Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows have been made to look. This match really kind of showed that they're the better tag team than Finn Juice, but on this night, Finn Juice got the better of them.
To be honest, even if this match happened in Japan or on New Japan Strong in LA, they probably wouldn't have won. The Good Brothers probably wouldn't have won.
Right.
Just because two things that, and I love the Good Brothers, but two things that Finn Juice have over the Good Brothers. Finn and Juice. Do you see how entertaining and great that man is?
Oh, God.
Oh, my God. The best thing he ever did was leave WWE.
Yeah, no.
It has done wonders for his career.
Oh, yeah, no. He's been great.
I mean, he's engaged to Tony Storm. Have you seen Tony Storm?
We have all seen Tony Storm.
I hate to see her go, but I love to watch her leave.
I love to watch her walk away from the camera.
Oh,
but I digress.
Yeah.
Continue.
Yes, anyway.
All right.
But no. I mean, this was one of those matches where, like I was telling Jesse and Leroy, I think you can probably attest to this because I mean, you used to watch a lot of when tag team wrestling was really taken seriously. This is a match where I think the Good Brothers were clearly the better tag team.
Oh, no doubt about it.
But at the end of the night, Finn Juice got one.
Yeah.
That's kind of how that's kind of how I viewed the match. It was a well-told match, basically.
Yes. Yes.
Greatly told.
Yes. All right. Next match.
All right.
We got to get to this main event.
Right.
At some point,
we got the Impact's the Ladies Championship, and the champion, Deonna Purrazzo, held on and won.
Yep.
She's still winning.
Yep.
And this last match Kenny the
belt collector.
Am I really a fan of him? Not really.
No.
Won and beat and got.
Was there any more of a disrespect to Rich Swann? I'm serious, Jesse. Has Rich Swann ever been in a more disrespectful angle in his entire career?
You don't want me to answer this question, honestly.
All right, well.
We'll throw that out.
I don't care how great of a match this was. For someone who has helped carry Impact,
and it took me out of the match. That's the sad part.
I mean, because he's helped to carry this company.
He really has.
He's been one of their great building blocks. A great redemption story.
Would you say Adam Pearce level of NWA when he was running with them, or do you?
No,
not that level.
Because I don't think Adam Pearce was ever disrespected. That was just at a time where people weren't really paying attention to NWA.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. Yeah.
Maybe as we should have, because you're talking about he that was like the early 2000s and stuff. So you're talking about the Attitude Era, the Ruthless Aggression Era. WWE just had a landmark on wrestling at that point.
No,
but
100%. Yeah.
But we are getting to we're getting to Diamond Dallas Page's WCW champion levels of disrespect.
Okay.
Where it's just like, wait a minute, this guy's been one of the best things you're doing.
Yeah.
And now you just kind of snatch a title off of him for this storyline that is fucking stupid. I had to use the F word. I'm sorry. But it's
kind of hard not to when you look at what we had to deal with.
Well, this is still what I think of Kenny and everything,
Yeah,
he's a joke. Sorry.
Folks.
Yes.
Folks. Two things I want to say before we let Jesse continue. Number one, Booker T said it himself, and I quote, "It did nothing for Rich Swann," which, by the way, we said before the show.
Yep. Yes, I did.
And
I know.
And, number two was I was actually talking to somebody on a Facebook page. It might have been Dirt Sheet Radio on Facebook. I was talking to someone, and I made a comment this match will do nothing for Swan. And they commented and saying, what do you mean? If he wins this, I'm like, first of all, what I said was, everyone knows he's not winning. Even the comments section knew he wasn't winning.
Yeah.
And number two, I said, okay, hypothetically, because someone tried to, say, what are you talking about? You're being disrespectful to Rich. I'm like, first of all, I can't be any more disrespectful to Rich than they've been this whole storyline.
I was gonna say.
But number two, if he wins, what is the goddamn point? The upset of the year?
You haven't even seen him on AEW television.
At least when the Giants beat the Patriots, they had played each other the last game of the preseason,
of the regular season,
and the last game of the regular season,
and
they were blown out, and they were blown out both.
Well, the last game they actually came back and almost won. So
True.
you had a feeling they had a shot at them again.
Yeah,
they might actually.
Third
beat
time
them.
was the charm.
Yeah.
Is still more of a storyline than what Rich Swann got in this whole thing.
And every Patriots fan, when that happened, they went like this. Because they didn't know it was going to happen.
But it's just it's just.
It was a good day for football fans, though.
Yeah, it was.
Thank you.
Yes.
I just want to point something out, folks. No, it's just we said it on the show.
Yeah.
And at this point, I hate, and this is going to happen again on the show because once again I was extremely right. But I hate when I'm right to this level because it's not only bad for the sport. I'm right to a level where I'm mad at myself.
Yeah.
And I'm serious because folks, the match wasn't terrible.
No.
Rich found a way to make Kenny look good because like I said at this point, I think it's Kenny's opponents are really going to make Kenny more so than Kenny himself.
Yeah.
But to have Rich put on what was almost a Herculean effort for him to, like Jesse said, carry this company for as long as he did,
and then
to do all the work and then just
and
that was Jesse, we have to emphasize what you just said. They literally just took it from him. They didn't snatch it from him.
No.
They didn't rip it from his cold, dead corpse. It literally just got, hey, hand me this belt. Ha, you're no longer the champ. And honestly, big ups to Don Callis, who has found a way to make this, company more relevant using AEW, but he's really just working for Kenny at this point.
Yep.
And that's not even on the show.
Basically.
Like, I mean, folks, you can sit here and you can love Kenny Omega, and that's fine. I am at the point now where I know I'm never going to change someone's opinion on Kenny Omega. I'm not. My opinion changed on Kenny, but that's because I don't want to look at Kenny as just an anti-WWE guy. I'm looking at Kenny as a wrestler. And my opinion has changed in that, what in the hell is going on? And now
that's about it.
And now
nothing good.
No, I mean,
nothing good.
I hate to say this, but I'm going to say it. Andrade El Idolo, just by showing back up on AAA and challenging Kenny for the Mega Championship at Triple Mania, that was more than Rich got. That is the saddest statement I've ever said because they were building the Rebellion match for like 2 months, and they didn't build it for 2 months.
Listen. There really was no build. Basically, what happened was like a couple of times.
Did we even talk about a build once on this show? Because there was nothing.
No,
we didn't have to talk about it.
Anytime they showed up,
there
on
was
Impact,
one time where
they literally showed up on Impact a couple times just to beat up like Eddie Edwards, another guy who's helped carry the company.
And what bothers me even more is there was the one time that Kenny showed up with the AEW World Title and just kind of looked at Rich, and in no uncertain way he said it's basically like a paper title, and I'm like, it's been around longer than your championship. I don't care how big your championship is. It ain't even been around. Now, if you had walked in and said that to, I don't know, any other title.
I mean, if you would have walked in and said it to the X Division champion, maybe.
That's fine. But to say it to the Impact World Champion, which, again, I'm not saying Impact's on the level of even MLW, who we'll get into here in a little bit. But, ladies and gentlemen, the Impact World title, and not to mention that Kenny's also now carrying the supposed TNA heavyweight title that Moose brought in just for a story. Like, folks, this This was an embarrassment to Rich Swann. This was an embarrassment to Impact. I can't believe Scott D'Amore greenlit this. If they're that desperate for viewership, then I don't know, go on PBS and make yourself a kids thing. I don't care, but there's no way that you're so desperate for ratings that you allow someone to do nothing for your show and then just embarrass your world champion.
Okay, just to tell Kenny something too. It may be bigger, but Kenny, your daddy should have told you. You got to know how to use it.
And then, of course, now there's the rumor that Moose might rise up and become the savior of Impact, which it's
savior of what? That main event that I cannot believe Scott D'Amore has allowed this to happen. And now in story mode, they're gonna have a tournament to crown the new number one contender. Because unfortunately, going into Rebellion, Rich Swann agreed to the stipulation that no matter who won, they would not get a rematch. I don't know why this was a stipulation. Why would you force Rich Swann to? Not even why. I don't know why Rich Swann, the character, would do the same thing Cody did in AEW.
It's called. I can't even say lazy anymore. It's called we don't know what we're doing booking. Okay. So we're just going to add a huge stipulation and make it seem like we give a damn.
And then
that's all it is.
And then probably to me the worst part of this whole thing is Rich Swann, now like Bray Wyatt, is just off of television. Mm-hmm. Just no rhyme or reason, no word on why what happened to him at one of the bigger pay-per-views happened. We just now haven't seen him. Mm-hmm. And it makes no sense.
Yeah, no, just straight up. And it's like, folks, we're not doing this solely for Kenny. I got plenty on AEW to rip on Kenny for, which we'll get to here in a little bit. But Jesse, you're our resident Twitch guy.
Yeah.
Leroy and I were here. I don't think you were here that week. This might have been one of the weeks you were off.
Okay.
It was the bus interview.
Okay.
The taped 10-minute interview that made no sense from the jump.
Yeah.
That Kenny just gave on Impact the very next night, basically. Mm-hmm. We looked at the ratings. Impact only went up about 60,000 views on Twitch, which isn't a lot.
Because Kenny ended up cutting the same damn promo a night later on AEW television.
But it's just, Jesse, once again, we are proving the hypocrisy of the AEW core audience.
Oh, I agree.
Because they're like, we are anti-WWE. Okay, so how about, and I'll just throw out some names. Maybe you've heard of them. CMLL, the oldest wrestling promotion in Mexico. Mm-hmm. AAA, the biggest wrestling promotion in Mexico.
Yeah.
How about MLW, Major League Wrestling, which has come on in the last few years? How about All Japan? How about Noah? How about New Japan Pro Wrestling?
They do have that relationship, but it would.
But it's like you people are sitting here saying you will support anything that isn't WWE. No, you're supporting the elite. That's what you're supporting, who, by the way, the elite, which we'll get into in a little bit here, they are literally becoming as bad as the McMahon family. I'm serious. We're reaching that level of stupidity.
It's and we'll get to them. It's embarrassing because it's basically like 6 steps back for no good reason.
Yeah. Well, is if they don't want to see WWE, okay, support. Before all this shit happened,
NWA
support the local independent like we do here. MAW,
First
Wrestling, First Wrestling, the stuff that comes out of your local.
AWF is down there.
Yeah. We're just rounding off ones we know in this area, but you could do that.
Yeah.
I mean, and then if you like some of the older stars, they pull some in.
These people are going to spend $50. And I'm serious. Even though the last pay-per-view was the biggest popcorn fart in American wrestling.
That ending was pretty damn
They're
bad.
still going to spend $50 on the next pay-per-view, but yet I've looked at our receipts. $50 will get you to and from, in, and merchandise a local wrestling show.
Yep. Or if you don't buy any merchandise and you're not counting the gas or anything, we're going to like 5 shows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can get into like a good amount of shows in just the city's area alone, forget going to Iowa or Chicago.
Yeah.
Or Wisconsin, we can get into a bunch of shows. And yes, people are like, you guys get in for free because you worked the rail. I'm like, hey, you know what? Go support the show. We jumped on the rail. We jumped over the rail to help. We made sure that the performers didn't have to do that. It's like, it's a rite of passage to set the ring up. But as I've said before, our job as a ring crew, if you're willing to accept it, because I told my buddy Scott, who's a gym rat, I'll bring you to a show and we'll see if you're really in shape, because there's gym shape and then there's putting a ring up and taking it down shape, because there's a lot to that, folks.
Especially in the first time we did it, having to pull it down in a matter of minutes.
17 minutes, basically. Wow. We had 17 minutes before the DJ was set up, and I'm like, okay.
Boom, boom, and we did it.
Great. Thanks for that.
Right.
But yeah, no, it's just I'm sorry, but I don't think I'm wrong when I say there's a hypocrisy level to you guys didn't go watch Impact. You didn't.
No.
And by the way, Jesse, this is not a shot because I'm a big gamer myself or a big internet person. I know most of y'all got Twitch. Because y'all know who Miro is, so
I was gonna say
y'all got Twitch, folks. I know you have accounts. I've seen the numbers, but it's just you guys are so desperate.
Yeah.
For this product to overtake Vince.
Oh yeah.
And we talked about it last week, even though there's no recording of it. We talked about it last week. You can't beat Raw. You can't beat Raw. And you know what? We'll get to that literally in a matter of seconds, because now we go from this bullshit ending of Rebellion, which, again, was the match bad? No, but the story that I already knew took me out of it.
Like, you almost didn't care.
No.
Because you knew what was going to happen.
Meltzer didn't even give it 5 stars, so obviously Meltzer didn't even care that much. But
what Kenny didn't do his good job. That's why he didn't get his 5 stars.
But
hey, came back.
But no, it's just
my lighting is
okay. So now
possessed.
we have a bunch of AEW topics that are all going to roll into one. So we're just going to jump into it. Number one,
is this the Abyss? Is that what this is?
Not yet. Not yet.
We're working on that one.
Number one, we're just going to talk about AEW's show in general. First of all, I don't know why all of a sudden Miro and Kip Sabian are beating the crap out of each other, or more like Miro's destroying that small child who's allowed in the Jacksonville Jaguars arena. But I don't know what that's about. Sorry, Abby, but Penelope Ford had a match where I think she looked like Penelope Ford. I don't think it was a better or worse match for anyone in there.
Wait, are we talking about her against my favorite alien, the Boop Girl?
Yeah. Yeah, Chris Statlander.
That's where she belongs, Abby. That's where she belongs. Flat on her back taking a pin. See, I didn't make a sexist comment. I'm just talking about her as a wrestler. Yeah. That's exactly where Penelope Ford belongs.
First of all, people can sit here and say, I have no formal wrestling training, but I've never seen someone give a German suplex release with that wide of a base. Not even Brock has ever done that, and Brock's got a pretty wide base just naturally.
Yeah.
But I remember some of the best German suplexes. Kurt had his knees in. Chris Benoit did it. It looked like she was trying something she'd never done before. She looked awkward.
Oh, for sure.
And this is just my opinion of the match. Again, I have no formal in-ring training, but from years, but I've always said, you kind of learn sports through assimilation by just watching over the years. It's like I can sit here and say to a football player, well, you ran a bad route. Have you ever run a route? No, but did you catch the ball? No. Then guess what? It's a bad route. So, but again, you go from a women's match that was apparently out of a 6-men issue, and now so Penelope and Chris Statlander have issues, even though they've never interacted one time except for Chris Statlander coming out of a box and not getting over. But
maybe we should have put her in a cake.
You know what?
Orange Cassidy looks better in a cake than Penelope Ford does. I'll say it. That's me complimenting Orange Cassidy.
Let's be fair to Penelope Ford here, because if there's anything we are, it's fair.
Exactly. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Yeah.
I understand.
This actually is the best she's ever looked.
The bar's not high.
I'll explain. But it's incredibly low.
When the bar's low, even Leroy's got a vertical to get over it.
Oh, shit. That's pretty low because I got to go pretty low.
I'm aware.
So I'm going to be fair to her.
All right, go for it.
She is finally slotted where she should be, under better women. And that is a double entendre that I'm not taking back. She is perfectly slotted.
I like that.
Where she should be, under better women.
I like that. Oh,
you know,
I mean, and listen, she still got to kiss Kip Sabian all over national television.
Yeah.
Which I'm sick of seeing, but you know what? For an undercard act, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Who's ever booking the women's division in AEW is finally getting it.
Yeah.
Is it not Kenny?
I don't know.
Maybe he's too busy.
To be honest, I've seen some things, and it looks like it hasn't been Kenny for a few weeks, which is probably why it's better.
Well, that's why. Well, folks.
Which is why you probably don't see Riho as well.
Well, folks, that's why the Rockstar video by Nickelback was so successful. None of them were in it. From Chad Kroger's own mouth. I love me some Nickelback, but that's Chad's own mouth.
Hey, I mean, when you just know, you know.
Yeah. Well, my favorite thing is they did the watch-along of their videos from all the right reasons because it's been 15 years since that came out. And the interviewer asked Mike Kroger, his cousin that plays bass, what's the least Rockstar thing about you? And Chad just interjected with, he plays in Nickelback. But no, it's just like, folks, now we move on to the young bucks who are supposed to be today's wrestlers, and we did it without the big people, and they're wearing designer shoes, and they're just.
I still got to say this with them, guys. What are they trying to be?
All of their matches now look exactly the same, and Jesse can't even argue with me on that.
I think they're trying to be 1992 Shawn Michaels, which
doesn't make any sense because
Shawn
Michaels was talented,
and they're trying to.
Besides that,
and they're trying to get their fashion sense from Seth Rollins because they're wearing his jacket.
Yeah, we saw that.
And
but Seth kind of stole their look with the red jacket. So I mean, we're kind of all going back and forth here with that. Look, I don't know what else to say about the Bucks other than that I just don't care anymore. Can I also point something out? I really hate to say this because I know this was a very rough time in his life, but he's come out of it and everything's okay. Shawn was also not a Christian at that point. So he did things that were entertaining that, let's be honest, Shawn would not do today.
When Shawn came back, he was like, I would never dream. When he talked about his comeback, he's like, I would never dream of doing the stuff I did back in the early 90s.
Well, but the thing is that people didn't like the second run of DX, but you had to get sophomoric because Shawn wasn't going to do a lot of the stuff that they used to do.
Hell, Triple H wasn't. Remember, at that point, his kids were really young.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean,
he was still doing. I liked the second run.
Oh, I loved it.
I loved
great.
It just because it's like Shawn is like, hey, Shawn, over there, huh?
Well,
and then Triple H would do whatever. It's going.
I loved it. I mean,
it was perfect.
See, but again,
plus they were both like you talking about two grown ass men that were close to their 40s at that point,
exactly,
with kids.
Yeah,
like no, they can't do what they did 15 years ago.
Well, but can I also point something out? Triple H said in "Thy Kingdom Come," the 20, the 25-year special, but the original DVD.
Yeah.
He said, we're both older. Shawn's born again. But see, now with TV4, the fact that DX was able to exist in a TV 14 platform, that's what impressed me the most, was because, again, I feel like everybody doesn't understand that the best comedians, and this is a real thing, Robin Williams was what people thought was like the great improviser.
Sure.
Robin Williams didn't improvise jack.
No.
He knew exactly where he was going every second of every stand-up.
Everything was well thought out.
Exactly. George Carlin was one of the few who I think he got you because, actually, no, George Carlin didn't. Sorry. George Carlin got famous for the 7 things you can't say on TV, which was kind of a direct punch to the FCC.
Yeah.
But George Carlin, if you really go back and watch the other stuff he did, not just that part, because that was the end of his show. Then he'd go off, he'd get handcuffed, he'd go to jail for doing it every show. But no, George Carlin, he would make jokes, but you would have to think about them.
Oh, yeah.
The thing about DX Part 2 was they were making the audience think about cock, not making the joke.
Yeah.
And by that I mean the bird.
Yes.
Of course the bird.
Of course
the University of South Carolina was not okay with them using Cocky, their mascot, but probably for good reason. Probably for good reason.
To be fair.
And if I was going to school, I'd still be in trouble.
They are the worst of the two USCs, to be fair.
That is true. That is true.
Maybe they need to change their mascot.
But
it's a gamecock, apparently.
Yes.
But the gamecock isn't working for them.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
So they
it's very flaccid.
Yes. Yes. But no, it's just the one.
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry.
Hey, no, that's all right.
But see, folks.
It's not quite a family show.
But see, folks, like Jesse said, they're trying to be that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we know you're born again Christians. We know you're.
I'll just break it down for you like this. I watch Dynamite
right.
because I watch Dynamite religiously every Wednesday. Because as a New York Jet fan, as a New York Knicks fan, as a native New Yorker, I just like to suffer.
You do.
Yes. I don't know why. We just like to suffer, apparently.
I understand.
But you got Katz's Deli to go to, which makes everything better.
You would think, but then I watch this.
That's fair.
So
you don't want to throw up Katz's famous meats, though, man. You don't want to do that.
Well, no, they're great.
Oh, yeah.
But you don't want to combine them with the Young Bucks. It's just puke it. So
I want to take a trip to New York, and I don't care if I have to pay for a ticket. I'm bringing him just so I can get to these restaurant spots.
I can't wait to show you.
All right.
So
I'm there.
I'll put it to simple terms about the Young Bucks at this point.
Okay,
in time. You guys are fucking lame. You're just lame. You're boring. You have nothing new to do, nothing good to do. Your matches are so overbooked. Your own fans are starting to turn on them. You're lame. That's what they are.
And here's why we know that Jesse's correct. Because the other segment that we'll get into, ladies and gentlemen, the AEW ratings have now been not 1, not 2, but 3 weeks unopposed. Now, the first 3 weeks of AEW Dynamite.
Wait.
Here, hold on.
Because I want to defend what the marks might say. Last week, not this past week, but 2 weeks ago, they actually had to go against the presidential speech.
Because professional wrestling fans care what the president's going to say. Right, okay. Moving on. No, I would like to point something out. The first 3 weeks of AEW was the only time in their history they had gone 3 weeks of over 1 million.
Yeah.
And to you two, guess what? It's still the only 3 weeks they went over 1 million in a row. The ratings for this past Wednesday, where they didn't have the first week unopposed, they didn't have a celebrity like Mike Tyson, and yes, Jericho had a hell of a promo. He kind of redeemed himself a little bit with that promo. But here's the deal. Ladies and gentlemen, the go-home show before Blood and Guts, which is basically an enclosed War Games on free television, 889,000.
Wow!
That's it.
What did NXT do this week?
Just you look up NXT's ratings, folks, I was telling Jesse and I was telling Leroy because okay, you two can confirm. I did not give you that number until that moment, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so the only thing that I told them was I hate when I'm that right. Because here's the deal. I said, not last week where there's no recording, but 2 weeks ago, let's see if you can sustain this other than the one night where now we're pretty much learning because they went from 1.2 to 1.1 to a 0.88. Folks, we can now officially say that 400 to 500,000 people tuned in thinking that NXT was still there, thinking that NXT was still going to be against them, and people who were like, let's give it a shot. I haven't watched it yet. It's been 1.5 years. Let's see what they're saying. And in 2 weeks, you scared them off.
Yeah, I'm going to try this one.
Oh, my God. NXT beat them, I think.
Here, I'm gonna try this. This is what happened to them.
Go ahead.
That's what happened.
What was the April 28th episode?
So let me see.
What was the April 28th episode?
Because once again, their ratings went up another 25%. I told you NXT is just a better show, people.
And this is what NXT did to AEW.
It was because last week was the
27th,
right?
28th. Yeah, 27th. I apologize. Yeah. Okay. So, but folks, while Jesse's looking that up, what have I been saying from the get-go? What have I been saying? If they're not against each other, we have proven there is 900,000 people, and not even officially 900,000 people, but just south of 900,000 who are 100% going to watch AEW whether it matters or not. It doesn't matter if you've got a continuation of last week's show. It doesn't matter if you have this, if you have that. What TNT has learned is what Spike TV learned a little too late. The only way to get a rating, you got to book a celebrity, but not that many celebrities are going to be on the show every week.
No. Did Corny not talk about him?
Oh, Corny talked about him.
Oh, he did? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So, all right, because that sometime, it did dip the ratings when he didn't, so, okay.
But anyway, Jesse, do we have the NXT number for April 27th?
Okay, it looks like it's about the same.
Really?
It looks like it's about the same.
Of the week before?
Okay. Okay. Let's see. Oh, no, sorry, that was the wrong week. So 2 weeks ago, NXT did 845.
Okay. That's a good number for them.
This week it was a little bit of a dip.
Okay.
It was 744.
The presidential debate, I think, would hurt NXT more than AEW just because I think a lot of older wrestling fans would have probably watched.
But remember how they talk about the demo?
Yes.
The demo?
Yeah.
NXT went up in the demo.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, but so now that Jesse's back in the conversation and not researching, but Jesse, this is what I've been saying from the get-go.
Yeah.
If you put the shows...
That's not good. You're right 3 weeks in. And by the way, Raw still does over 1 million, even though... And this week was better.
1,000,004.
But it's...
1,000,004 there's their average.
And it's not just... people are like, well... I'm like, well, that just means WWE has a built-in audience of at least 1 million. You guys don't.
Mm-hmm. Folks... well, and it's just...
And Raw doesn't even care anymore, and that's which I hate that they don't.
Right.
But because they do such good clip numbers on YouTube,
right.
I don't think Vince actually... That's another reason why Raw has suffered.
Well, that is also kind of the wave of the future. I think we kind of have to accept that. This is another thing that wrestling was just going to become. But folks, here's the thing. NXT... is at least more consistent.
Yeah.
Whether you like the people or not, it's consistent. They have a great women's division, which AEW is getting better, but is not even close to the level of NXT.
I love the ladies on
They
NXT.
care about their tag team division to where it's not just a jerk-off session for the Young Bucks. The main events scene is great. Whether you think he's bland or not, Cross is at least looks like a star.
And then the main events themselves are so interchangeable.
Yes.
That the show never loses a flow.
No, it does not. I think that at this point, Johnny Gargano is carrying more of an audience rating than the entirety of Dynamite. And Gargano's just being a moron the whole time. And I love it. But now we move to another thing that is going to be interesting. So AEW does well when Sting shows up, when Mike Tyson shows up, when Shaq shows up.
Sorry, Sting wasn't on the show this week, was he?
He was not. But even Sting's not moving the needle anymore. He's not, because they showed him too much. But here's the thing, folks.
I agree.
Some breaking news from the television world. Sorry, AEW fans, but you don't control the narrative because this isn't the internet. This isn't a PWG show. No offense to PWG, but they obviously have a lot of internet views, so that matters.
PWG shows were actually good.
USA will not be carrying the NHL following the end of this season. Ladies and gentlemen, Turner Broadcasting has picked up the rights to the NHL starting next year.
Well, now that's interesting because...
And by the way, the NHL ain't moving to TBS.
Because...
So, go ahead.
That's so interesting when you think about it because, there were some AEW fans that really believe it. They didn't move because of...
Now, they sent him kicking and screaming, to quote the demo guy.
I mean, listen, they
sent him kicking and screaming to Tuesday nights.
They left because AEW was a better show. And then I look at the ratings and then the main demographic that the AEW fans want to talk about all the time.
Yeah.
NXT gets better and better every week now that they're alone.
Yep.
And you guys are back to your normal 800,000.
And can I also point something out? Yeah. Jesse, you and I both know this by heart. Everyone's saying restart the war, go to Tuesday. What does TNT have on Tuesdays?
Basketball.
Oh, that's right. It's the regular season of the NBA, which draws a better number on a random Tuesday than you guys have ever had on your show.
And the playoffs start soon. And the playoffs start soon too. So guess what? Guess what'll happen at AEW again? You're going to start showing up at 10 o'clock at night.
Well, but Jesse, here's the other thing people don't realize. The NBA is an 82-game regular season.
This year was shortened, but yes. Usually it's 82.
Yeah, you have to win 16 games to win a championship, but there's half the league gets in the playoffs, and now they have play-in games.
I'm about to say, now they have play-ins.
Which, by the way, I don't hate. It adds more revenue, and it adds more excitement a little bit there. I'm okay with that.
Here, let me break it down in just one simple term. You couldn't stay above $1 million without NXT. You couldn't do it. You couldn't do it. You failed to do it.
Folks, the NBA takes precedence. The NHL takes precedence.
Oh, the NBA, like I said, it's starting in a month. You're going to start seeing times of, you'll see AEW next week after the NBA game. You want to know why? Because those draw like 20 to 40 million viewers.
And by the way,
they really don't care about the little wrestling show.
And by the way, what I think was hilarious was I watched someone who flat out sat there and they commented, and I swear to God, this person should probably blocked me because I can't find them again. They were like,
they did block.
Well, they're probably just gonna move the NBA games before AEW, and I'm like, they're gonna take the hottest sport outside of the NFL. And they're gonna move it out of prime time for a second-rate. For a second-rate wrestling company?
No, not a chance. Not a chance.
What is wrong with this audience that is so built in that they think they're going to Look. Okay, I get it. AEW appeals to a large demographic of the nerd generation, in which it's outside, it's outlaw, it's this. But guys, just because you hate the NBA, just because you don't like organized professional sports, that doesn't mean that they don't still have more viewers than what you're into. I'm sorry. More people watch the Super Bowl than have ever watched AEW, whether it's combined YouTube clips, combined downloads, or anything pay-per-view buyed.
That's big facts.
Folks, the Super Bowl in one night forces companies who are billionaire companies, they spend $1 billion to get a 30-second time slot on a 3.5-hour broadcast.
Yep.
You are never going to move the needle like that. Vince has never thought he could move the needle like that. He's never tried to move the needle like that. He has known where his thought was.
To be fair,
the XFL was a little bit the original XFL.
He admitted once upon a time one of the biggest reasons he originally had Raw on Monday nights was because when they first started, especially as the Attitude Era built up, they were competing with NFL numbers.
Right, yeah.
But then as time went on, I think he understood I can't compete with NFL numbers.
Folks, folks, the NFL over the first, I think, 2 days of the NFL draft. I'm talking about the NFL draft. There's no games. There's no
I believe just on
championships.
ESPN, they averaged like 30 million.
They had 90,000 people at the center to listen to picks.
I think on ESPN alone they averaged 30 million viewers during the 3 days.
Folks, the NFL
ABC too.
And ABC. So I don't even want to know how high the viewer count was.
The NFL
probably an average of like 80.
The NFL is sitting there. The draft, which never used to be televised,
it's now 3 days.
Is now 3 days of prime time television. The first round goes 3.5 hours, and trust me, Jesse was there that night.
I was.
We didn't turn it off.
Nope.
we were in this. Congrats to your boys who are doing more for Sam Darnold than for Zach Wilson than they did for Sam Darnold in 4 years.
At least the Panthers got that one right, but I'll let you continue.
Yeah,
but anyway,
I know. I watched. I went upstairs to put my kids to bed,
and
then I went back down.
Leon, sorry, I keep saying Leon. You're gonna hit me in the face, and I'll deserve it.
I'm gonna have to put my name up here.
Yeah, exactly.
So Leroy doesn't even have cable television,
but it was on ABC,
and you can watch it on ABC now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's how big the NFL draft is.
And they just signed an $11 billion television contract. Folks, quick question. Is anybody in this room or listening out there in the sound of my voice, does anybody know what station or what company is doing the Thursday night games this year? Anybody?
I believe it's Fox again, isn't it?
It's Amazon Prime.
Oh yeah, they're
Folks,
they're a new partner. Yeah,
Amazon got in the football game.
Because they were doing the London games, and the London games on their streaming service was doing an average of 12 million, and they were like, "Yeah, we want more of this pie."
Folks, you're sitting here telling me that AEW is going strong. You can't get $1 million without a Mike Tyson who was there just for the check. Vince was actually doing something with him.
Yeah.
But, guys, you had a night where Chris Jericho actually made me believe in Chris Jericho for one more night. It's the go-home show before your big blood and guts. And you couldn't even crack 900,000 people.
It's like the Cleveland fans that were at the draft. Cleveland got their pick. Okay, we're going to them. And they left.
Folks.
And there was a lot of people that left.
Folks, this is what I've been saying. And you know what? I'm going to go back to even a little crow
here. You know what's
here
astonishing, though? Because before you even finish,
yeah,
this wasn't actually a bad show. Now, the Young Bucks stuff was horseshit.
Right.
But
that was the point that I was getting to. Okay. Was that I said this back when Jesse had to start eating crow. Jesse, there are good segments.
Yeah.
But it's marred by a bunch of shitty ones. And by the way, folks, here's the deal. Raw has some off segments, but I'm not completely removed from the great segments that Raw can produce. AEW has a segment.
When they do them, to be fair.
Yeah, exactly. No, not denying that.
Yeah,
not denying
when they actually do them.
But the thing about it is that, folks, y'all have such shitty segments.
Y'all?
I'm talking to the AEW people.
Oh, okay, all right.
Because Jesse, you know as well as I do, they're booking for their fans. They're not booking for.
If you were booking for your fans plus, a lot of this wouldn't be on the show.
True.
Right? I shouldn't even say a lot of it. See, the problem I have with AEW Dynamite Television now, week to week, is
because Dark's still going strong. You're our resident.
Elevation's very, very good. Dark is very, very good. They're doing a better job week to week on those two shows, just building the young talent and talking about the young talent, and actually making stories on those two shows on the internet, by the way, which maybe that's where Dynamite should be, but I digress. You might do better numbers.
No, it's going to end up on TBS at 8 a.m. and everyone's like, that's the old NWA. It's like, you ain't going to get that many people to watch Saturday morning wrestling. The NWA had about 80 million people on a Saturday morning sitting in front of a television.
Because there also wasn't anything else on.
Exactly.
So you can actually they had a slot where you could just watch wrestling.
Yeah.
So, like I said, the show is mired, and there's really good segments, but the bad stuff. So, like the Young Buck stuff tonight.
Anything involving Miro?
I just don't know what they're doing with him anymore.
He doesn't know what they're doing with him anymore. That's why he's now a crazed psychopath who beats up Kick Sabian for whatever reason.
Anyway. I'll get into it.
Up other people now.
Well, he's clearly supposed to be moving on, but I guess they have to do the segment where they feel. By the way, If you're the antithesis of WWE, you wouldn't feel forced to do a segment on why he turned on Kip. You would just have him move away from Kip. If he's done with Kip, just have him move away. If you're the antithesis of WWE, okay. Yeah. And by the way, like I said, I read that interview like last week. We kind of talked about it a little bit. Where the Young Bucks were like, "Oh, I mean, he offered us like $500,000 a year plus bonuses." I'm like, that means Vince actually saw value in you. How is that a bad thing? Like your pride, because you made $1 million on your own,
right?
Your pride couldn't look at that and go, "We've accomplished something." Vincent Kennedy McMahon, this man that we've got cease and desist letters from, all that, literally came to us because it wasn't even Hunter, it wasn't Paul, it wasn't Sean, it was Vince.
Yeah.
Gave him a call. Listen, I actually think you guys would be great for the company. Sat them down, sat Kenny down. I apparently offered Kenny even more money than that in bonuses. Like, he actually saw something in you guys. You decided to start your own company, which overall, when Cody originally talked about the idea, I had no problem with it because I thought to myself, Cody, especially if his brother can join him, if Cody gets with a smart billionaire, which I think Tony Khan now, after losing all this money, is learning I should probably be more involved because there's no doubt he's been losing money on this.
We saw Tony on Thursday, and guess what, folks? The Jaguars did well, so we knew he wasn't making those picks.
Well, his dad and football people actually have something to do with
Urban
that.
Meyer wasn't about to let some kid who's like busy with his wrestling company.
Which, by the way, I mean, congratulations. At least you guys will now have to. You guys. I mean, I feel bad for Trevor Lawrence, but he's going to be forced now to go to those shows every now and then.
So is Travis Etienne.
He'll just go because he actually is a pro wrestling fan.
Yeah.
It would be funny if he shows up.
Trevor Lawrence already has more charisma than anyone on AEW. So.
He definitely has better hair than the Young Bucks.
Very much so.
Well, he has hair.
The balding Bucks. but no.
But as I was saying, like it's one of those things. Like there's good segments there. There's a nice story being built. Even though it's funny that you put it was talked about in the Pro Wrestling Lounge. You took Scorpio Sky out of SCU. You just put him in a whole nother tag team. We digress. That's a whole nother issue.
But hold on. I thought that only WWE broke up a tag team to create another tag team. I thought that was a mistake that only Vince made. Oh wait, it's not. Nope. Yeah, hypocritical old idiots. Good freaking Lord.
But now they have a nice little story with Sting, Darby, and the Murder Hawk. I like it. At least there's something there for them to do. And it's a slow building.
Which wasn't
story,
even done on this week's show, mind you.
It was actually done more on Dark this week, but I digress. By the way, something else I still fail to do every week is mention anything that happens on Dark. So we had a 6-man between the Nightmare Factory and the Factory, right?
Yeah.
You wouldn't have known why you had it besides the attack 4 weeks ago. Because they don't actually tell you anything.
I was actually going to get to that in the sense that, folks, we need to discuss for 1 second going into the AEW Abyss on this show one more time. I never thought I was ever going to say this, but the AEW Abyss technically exists for wrestlers that were well known outside of AEW that have come to AEW and nobody has any idea what they're doing. I can't believe I'm saying this, but this week's highlight, we're highlighting this person. Mm-hmm. This week's guest in the Abyss is Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Really?
I'm not kidding. No. We need to take a second here and actually think about this. No, think about this for a second. Ladies and gentlemen, Cody Rhodes returned after that 6-man. But first of all, even Tony Schiavone had to make the comment live on television. How did QT not see him in the bus? Because, of course, Cody's blonde hair was sticking up in the freaking doorway. But anyway, no. Think about this. Cody got beat up 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
He hasn't been on Dynamite for 3 weeks. Nope. Then he appears in the bus. Cody Rhodes got beat by Brody Lee. Gone to tape some crappy show. Gone for like a month. Comes back. Wins the title. Goes back to doing the same shit he was doing before, which is not following up with Brody. We know why he didn't follow up with the Brody situation.
We now know why he didn't follow.
We now know why.
Yeah.
But they could have come up with something with the night, with the Dark Order.
Yeah.
But he wrestles and wrestles and wrestles, and that's all he does. And then the title is removed, and then Sting shows up, interrupts Cody. We still don't know why. Then Cody comes in and gives a quick interview in which we're not even 5 freaking New York minutes into it, where all of a sudden a woman we've never seen before walks up a flight of stairs to the entryway, walks down, and Cody turns around and goes, "I'm sorry, who are you?" And then nothing. That, by the way, I want to also point out, after the Jade Cargill original interview, he got attacked by Team Taz. We don't know why.
I'm about to say that was never followed up on.
That was never followed up on.
Went nowhere.
Also, Cody, despite being an executive vice president, has yet to appear, and correct me if I'm wrong, on an episode of Dark or an episode of Elevation.
No.
Cody Rhodes got involved with Shaq out of nowhere. We don't know why. Cody Rhodes' wife got pregnant. I'm like, thank God, we're going to throw the Shaq thing out the window. Nope, we're going to give you Red Velvet. Don't know why. There's
cake.
no backstory as to Red Velvet is like trained by the Nightmare Family and this and that. We didn't get any of that.
No. You didn't get it on Dynamite, which is worse.
Thank you. Thank you.
I got it on Dark. You
Thank
didn't get
you.
it on Dynamite.
Thank you. Cody Rhodes then falls through a table with Shaq. Shaq goes into an ambulance.
He disappears like
Shaq
Undertaker.
disappears. We don't know why. Cody Rhodes was involved with MJF. They botched that. Cody Rhodes starts things off with Jericho out of nowhere. Cody Rhodes just to get at the evil Jericho and the Inner Circle. I will never challenge again, even though you're the first ever challenger. We don't know why. Folks, Cody Rhodes apparently works 4 nights and then he takes 3 weeks off. Because Cody Rhodes has spent more time on a crappy version of America's Got Talent and doing his weird-ass reality show, which ain't as entertaining as Ms. and Mrs. It ain't.
I didn't watch it.
It's
because I don't watch Ms. and Mrs. either.
It's bad. Anyway.
I haven't watched it. Yeah.
But anyway, folks.
I just don't care about people's families. I'm an evil son of a bitch.
That's fair.
I care about yours because your kids are awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, Cody Rhodes is then involved with Lance Archer, and then that mysteriously ends for no reason. We don't know why.
No. He beat Lance Archer, and then that ends.
Cody Rhodes gets involved in a match that was supposed to be an exhibition. Mm-hmm. We don't know why. And then QT Marshall. By the way, folks, it's QT Marshall, not Marshall. Because he did have a career before this in Ring of Honor.
Yes, he did.
We learn that QT is now stealing some students from the Nightmare Factory. We don't know why, because QT just did a turn like Big Show. Oh, I'm sorry, Paul White. Can't use that anymore.
Hey, no more BS.
That's fair. I apologize. There was
all right.
If it's on a shirt, I have to follow it.
I
forgot. Cody Rhodes gets interrupted every single interview. He never gets a word in edgewise. He just stops talking and someone else gets the spotlight.
Like Penta L0?
That was a 2-week angle where they had a pull apart and then a match, and that was it. We don't know why. Stop me if you get the point of what I'm going. Is there a theme here? We don't know why anything is happening.
I just want you to keep going because this is actually entertaining. It's not me this
like
time.
Like the Brock Lesnar of AEW or something?
No, because Brock's shit makes sense.
Okay.
Despite the timing, and at least you can sit here and have me.
I gotta be honest. That is fair.
At least Brock's shit
At
makes
least the
sense.
stories make sense.
Cody Rhodes.
You might hate him.
Cody Rhodes. By the way, folks, I don't care if this is out of order because the list just keeps getting larger. Cody Rhodes shows up looking like the old villain from Lazy Town. I don't know why.
He damn sure did.
He had black hair for 2 weeks.
And then was like, I'm not turning heel. And he went back to blonde.
Cody Rhodes was in a ladder match with 5 dudes who are not on his level of stardom in AEW. We don't know why. Cody Rhodes is just jobbing, and I don't care if he won. He was jobbing to nobodies and giving them time on television they didn't deserve. We don't know why.
This is the wonderful world of AEW.
Folks,
it's like
this
Twilight
is the
Zone.
guy who supposedly has more say than the rest of them. This is the guy who I had hope for, because the second ever pay-per-view, he and Dustin tore the goddamn first pay-per-view, The second one they were in a tag match. They tore the motherfucking house down. Mm-hmm. There was blood. There was passion. There was an afterbirth that was actually good.
Yeah.
Folks.
Yes, that's true.
Cody Rhodes is an executive vice president. He is the one who stood up there and said, and I quote, "If not now, when? If not us, Who? I feel like I'm Dark Helmet yelling at the guys who are running the video behind him, trying to figure out what they're saying. Because, folks...
We might go plaid. I think that's next for Cody. We're going to go plaid.
Is plaid what having a stroke feels like? Because that's what I'm about to have at this point.
Hey, no, don't do that now.
But just, folks...
So I'm going to save you from yourself and interrupt you quick.
Please do. Because at this point, I've got about 5 more things as to why. But go on.
I don't think we need to do any more.
There's only 2 things I can defend. The rest after hearing from you that's just disappointing. Because I've never thought of it in that large scale. Because I always think of wrestling week to week. I always have.
Someone give me the whiteboard. I'll just start writing this shit down.
There's one right behind you.
It's right behind you.
I'll just start listing what I said. Like I said, the order's irrelevant because at this point, we're a year and a half in, and Cody's done jack but 1 title victory that was only to support a bunch of people who we haven't seen. Oh, by the way, I also forgot to mention before you move on, because this is a big one, because we talked about him earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Matt Cardona shows up for 5 matches.
Well, he showed up for his cup of coffee, his $100,000,
and a donut.
I don't even think he had a time to get a donut.
See, we got 13s, and I'm ready.
I don't have time. The show will be over by the end of it.
He also showed up to get a little bit more tan. He got what he needed out of AEW.
Yeah.
Folks, Cody Rhodes was the one we had hopes for. Cody Rhodes was the one that was being defended by even Jim Cornette. And now, what's to defend? And I'm not saying what's to defend because now he's doing shit. What's to defend because he's not there? He does something and then he takes 3 weeks off. I get it. You only want to do this for about 4 or 5 more years, then you're going to go run for state senate of the great state of Georgia.
Here's the one thing I will say this about Cody, and it's the only hope that I actually have for AEW's future. Hello, Ghostbusters.
I got to work on that. I don't know what the heck.
We have a light above us that keeps going out.
The best segments on the show week to week are produced by Cody Rhodes.
Except for his own.
Yeah.
Clearly, recently, except for his own.
Yeah.
I had no problem with him going after being the TNT champion at first.
He seems to be the only guy who was an executive VP who understood from the get-go, I kind of need to be one of the guys.
Well,
not one of the boys. Because in wrestling, every locker room's got the boys.
Yeah.
But the guys, the ones who get their own locker rooms, the Stone Colds, the Rocks, the Takers, the Kanes, the Ron Simmons, the guys that you don't walk up to because you don't know if they're going to give you the time of day.
Yeah.
He figured out I had to be one of the guys.
Well, unfortunately for him,
from the start,
and maybe this is why his stories recently have been so terrible. I think like I said, I think they take so much complaints, and he's about the only one who cares to address them.
True.
That I think as the EVP, I think he also, and I know there was a clip from the show where him and Brandon are talking, and he was just like, it's going to come to a point where I don't know if I'm actually have any friends for keeping this company alive, because I think he's starting to understand
what Vince has been understanding for 50 years.
Sometimes you got to fucking fire your own friends or bury their ideas, but you have to do I hate to use this line from The Authority. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm doing this callback. You have to do what's best for business.
Yep. Ladies and gentlemen,
you have to do what's best for your 2-hour show.
Ladies and gentlemen, Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock became two Mount Rushmore guys at the same time.
Yeah.
Vince McMahon knew that they both probably had a lot of ideas. You don't think there's a list of ideas that Stone Cold and The Rock were told no about?
Oh, there was a ton of them.
You don't think Vince McMahon sat there and looked at not only shit-stained Russo, but looked at Cornette, looked at Pritchard, and said that, look, some of the greatest storylines that we'll never know about could have been pitched by preached.
I'm about to say, don't say anything good about Pritchard. He doesn't deserve any credit or anything right now.
No. Zeb Coulter.
Okay.
Dutch Mantel.
Yeah.
Same guy.
Yeah.
He knows a lot about this. Mm-hmm. He produced great days of TNA.
Yes, he did.
Dutch might have had some great wrestling angles, but did they fit what the Attitude Era was? Maybe, maybe not. I'm not saying from any knowledge here, but folks, I am a Vince defender because I seem to be the only person on God's green earth that constantly has a platform, whether it's Facebook or this, who just says what nobody else says because they've never had that much power. He holds every day thousands of employees, hundreds of paychecks, hundreds of millions of dollars, and every single person, from the wrestlers to catering to the ring crew to the production crew to the board of directors, he holds thousands of financial lives in his hand. He does.
Oh, yeah.
And sometimes you have to look at someone and you have to tell them, well, it's just not going to go. It's not going to work. Folks, there have been a lot of movie franchises that shit the bed at the end because they were like, well, we can do no wrong. I'm going to be very clear about something. There is one group of people in the history of entertainment that were able to say we can do no wrong no matter what we do. They're called the Beatles, and they're never coming back.
Well,
because
that's only one of them left.
Yeah, there's two.
Wait a minute. Yeah, there's two left. Sorry.
There's one talented one, and there's the one who got the job.
You're going to say that about Paul? I mean.
Oh!
Got ya.
All of a sudden, this turned on Leroy. Anyway.
Boom.
No. Send all your hate mail to Leroy Britton.
But no.
What's wrong with Ringo, man? I love that guy.
Look. Does Ringo deserve the love for being the drummer in the Beatles? Yes.
Oh, yes.
But Ringo was not Paul. He wasn't John. He wasn't even George Harrison.
To be honest, this it's a great analysis, but it might not work because I don't know what the age group of our listeners are.
No,
they're young.
Jesse,
they don't
know. No, Jesse. This is what I'm saying is this.
I was gonna say for recent times, I think the best analogy is Kevin Feige and Marvel, because think about it.
No. Hold on. Let me finish my point before we get there.
Okay.
The reason why I say the Beatles could do no wrong was because the Beatles, Helter Skelter's a messed up tune, but don't tell me it's not one of the most famous Beatles tunes.
Well, it is.
Let It Be is one of the all-time great musical masterpieces that has ever existed.
Yeah.
There's a reason why Helter Skelter and Let It Be are still both equally as great to the public. It's because it was the Beatles. There was no competition. They were the only ones doing what they did. They set the groundwork for the modern day music. It doesn't matter if you play in a punk rock band like Jesse does, if you're a rap artist, it doesn't matter anything. What they invented musical recording. They were the ones who sat back and said, all right, we're not just going to cut 45 seconds of a tune and put it on the radio. People were clamoring radio stations to play the Beatles. But radio stations couldn't do it because it was 3.5 minutes long. Jesse, nowadays, that's the standard.
Yeah.
If it ain't 3.5 minutes, they ain't putting it on the radio. Am I wrong?
That's true.
So it's just, folks, Vince McMahon is the guy who is going to tell you no because he knows the trends. He knows I can't pay all these people by running a wrestling company. Jim Herd couldn't even do that.
No, he was great.
Jim Herd had a lifeline.
Yeah.
Jim Herd had a end expiration date. Where's the expiration date for WWE? I'm serious. Do you see it? You can't. You can't honestly tell me.
No.
And that is because Vince McMahon has been the ultimate, and this is a funny analogy because of all the other stuff, he's been the ultimate no man in the history of wrestling. No, you can't go work somewhere else because I need to make money off you. My audience needs to see you. I can't rent you to New Japan Pro Wrestling for 3 months. I need you here. I can't run an injury angle for 3 months because I have a 52-a-week show. Folks, Cody is finally realizing that all the times he was told no, Vince made an enemy out of every single person he said no to, including his own son-in-law.
Mm-hmm. Well, shit, including his own kids.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Guys, you can hate on Vince McMahon for what he supposedly did to the wrestling business. Would you have something to complain about if not for Vincent Kennedy McMahon? Would there be a WWE to hate on? Would the World Wildlife Fund have cared if they were the level of a Jim Herd? If they were the level of an NWA? No! Because they weren't big enough to steal advertising money from.
True.
That's the World Wildlife Fund isn't going to care about some wrestling company in the middle of Bumshart, Nebrahoma, who has the initials WWF. They're not going to care because they're never going to find out about them. Maybe in passing, but when you have the juggernaut that was the World Wrestling Federation, a man who had to go to Congress and flip them the bird. The U.S. government has tried to shut Vince down how many times at this point?
2 or 3.
And he beat them all 2 or 3 times. Yeah. Folks, Cody and even the Bucks, and Jesse may or may not know about this, the Bucks gave another interview about an issue in booking, which actually involved New Japan.
Oh, God.
But folks, the Young Bucks said, everyone's in a faction. You know what? It's kind of easier to do it. You know, American audiences just aren't used to it. No, American audiences aren't used to it being garbage.
Yep.
You cannot compare your booking of factions to the booking of factions in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Can't happen. Not going to work.
Well, by the way, it's something that New Japan gets knocked for because it's not like they follow up on the factions very often recently. So they actually have taken a ton of criticism.
I'm going to go with COVID on that one, though, because like you said, COVID's affected their booking.
But even pre-COVID, it was just like, okay. Now, what's been nice post-COVID is, or not even really post-COVID, but during this COVID era, is that I think what Will Ospreay, and by the way, congrats to Will for his recent success there. He deserves it. He's one of the hardest workers in the world.
Yeah, straight up.
He is better than you, Seth Rollins.
Yep.
He just is. One of
the love for Seth Rollins. Oh my God!
Just you and the Young Bucks keep mocking each other. Apparently, that's what you're best at.
Yeah.
Because you don't have great matches unless there was Cesaro anymore, anyway. So, one of the great things that Will Ospreay has actually redone for New Japan is the fact that he created his own faction, the Kingdom.
Yes.
And I think it's actually reinvigorated Gato and that creative team to actually care about their factions again.
Yeah.
So
that's obviously something that we have to let marinate before we can truly get it. But my point is this: is that the Bucks came out.
They literally try to say like we're doing the factions because
we have too many people to book.
That's fucking stupid.
And Jim Cornette actually commented on it, and I need you guys to think about this because this is
factions are supposed to be there to actually help build different wrestlers.
But here's the deal, Jesse.
From off of other wrestlers.
Well, but Jesse, now here's my question that Jim posed to you two. The Bucks think it's easier to book a wrestler if he's in a faction. Jim said anyone who actually books wrestling from yesteryear and from good says that it's actually easier to book someone when they're not aligned in a faction. Your thoughts?
It just depends. I'll let you go first.
Well, I think it would be a lot easier to book somebody that's not in a faction because one, if you're in a faction like Evolution, there's 4 people. To keep one person's storyline going, you got to make sure that those 3 other people are in that storyline.
I also want to point out the booking of Evolution was so unique in the fact that all 4 guys were really doing different shit all the time.
Yeah, but it is like that. I mean, if you're doing it, it's like that. I mean, everybody wants to achieve something. And if you're having 4 different people in that same one, you can't focus on...
Well, there's also 4 versus the 84 total wrestlers, 6 total factions, so there's 20 people in a freaking faction.
I was going to say, in New Japan, the number is quite ridiculous.
Well, AEW is not much better. Also, a quick question: what the hell are the Young Bucks doing talking about talking about AEW doing New Japan stuff? They weren't even cared about when they were in New Japan. You were not the New Japan boys. That was Kenny, if anyone.
Yeah.
So what the hell are they doing talking about New Japan here? But anyway, Jesse. So Leroy agrees with Jim.
Yeah,
easier if they're not in there. Now you're our resident New Japan
everything.
guy. You follow them. What's the positives to a faction book?
I disagree with you respectfully. If you were Jim Cornette, I'd be like, first off, fuck you, old man. But we actually like each other. You're a good man.
Well, I'm an old man, but all right.
You're a great man. You're a great man, Leroy. I love you, man. Unlike that man who pimps out his wife. So,
she does it willingly, I think. I'm not entirely sure, but I think maybe.
So the reasons why factions can work, which, by the way, yes, you're absolutely right, they fail at in AEW, is it supposed to be a way. So one thing New Japan in the 2000s and what WWE did great in the early 2000s, in the early noughties as it's called, was factions. And hell, I mean, you can give WCW a lot of credit for that in the late 90s.
Yeah.
That you use the big name like a Hogan, use the big name like a Triple H,
I think
a Rock.
Hall and Nash were on the same level as
well, that's what
Hogan,
I'm saying.
WCW. Okay, yeah.
But you use those guys, so when you put those younger guys in those factions, turn them heel, whatever, try to give them character because you have faith in their ability, but you need to see them grow.
Yeah.
The faction is supposed to be, okay, we're still going to be able to let you spin off and do your other stuff. Every now and then you could be, especially if it's a heel faction, you could be a lackey for them.
Yeah.
But basically it keeps the wheels turning for the other wrestlers involved.
Wasn't that what Nakamura really did for a while, was that even though he was the original leader
So people forget Chaos was called Chaos because they literally caused chaos.
Right.
They were actually the original heel faction in New Japan.
They were Bullet Club before Bullet Club.
It's just Bullet Club because we're foreigners. We grew up with the WWE.
I'm surprised they hadn't done a Westerner faction before.
Excuse me. It's so just like when you think about Kaientai from back in the day.
Yeah.
They have one thing I give Japan and the Asian culture a lot of props for is that even they back then knew that was incredibly disrespectful in a sense.
Yeah.
I mean, it was treated respectfully, but at times, because of how it was kind of very joking and all that, it was felt as very disrespectful. So they would back then.
Well, I think
Inoki and those guys would never dream of doing that.
Well, I think that was the reason why it was so hard for them to get into the U.S. market back then, was they were trying to be respectful to the point where the Attitude Era proves we want controversy.
Well, controversy creates that cash.
Yes, exactly. So it's like when Bullet Club finally came in and you realized, oh, this is not a one-off, this is going to keep happening.
Yeah.
That's when I think eyes of the Western culture got on the Eastern side, because all of a sudden, here's Prince Devitt, and you're just like, why is he so big in Japan all of a sudden? Well,
it was because one, he had built himself up so well in the junior division.
Yeah.
He was kind of this larger than life personality, and so when he turns heel, and he gets that Machine Gun, who was already a really good wrestler, and someone they were gonna push to be a IGWP heavyweight champion.
Yeah.
And you get him, and you get the Tongan too. While they booked okay, they didn't book really well back then.
That was the thing that I see. Again, you and I have talked about this a couple of times on the show.
Yeah.
Like the Machine Gun, he legitimately was a top guy over there.
Oh yeah, he was beloved over there as one of the best wrestlers in the world.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where
he's also very comfortable in that tag team he's in.
Yeah, he is.
Obviously, because he has found a brother.
And now he's gotten older, I think he appreciates the fact that
he had his
tag team stuff with Gallows actually keeps his career going longer.
Oh yeah,
because his body now doesn't take as bad as a beating when you're in a tag team.
Go back and watch those old Machine Gun matches. They were so good.
Oh yeah, sign up for New Japan World. Go watch the stuff from back in 2011. You'll be like, holy crap.
But anyway, kind of getting back to my point.
So back to the Young Bucks and that BS that they just told the world.
Yeah.
And why I kind of disagree with the old school mentality.
Yeah.
Is that you can use the faction to build the young guy. You can use the faction to build a guy you've kind of had middling, and you're like, what do they need? Like, what do they need so we can try to push them to our crowd more?
The problem is, and here's the deal. You're both right, but the only thing that's wrong here is the literal way the Bucks are booking. It's the literal shit they're doing. The mentality is irrelevant when you look at the literal doings of things. Vince Russo may have sat there and said, "Oh, the Jerry Springer show has a lot of viewers," but did it have to really be that trash? Did the beautiful people who were actually fairly talented young ladies and did look great, but did they have to come off so high school snobbish?
Well, because Vince Russo liked the young. Well, not. I mean, I hope they don't get into the Vince Russo category, but they're getting close at times.
Yeah.
He's trash. He's a trash human being.
Yeah. Which is weird because
he's
supposed to be a born again Christian.
What he saw in Jerry Springer was this. Oh my God, people are going crazy. He gets crazy viewings every now and then. So there's some nudity. Let's do that. You stupid idiot. That's one of the original reality TV shows or talk shows like Jerry Springer and Ricky Lake and things of that nature. Yeah, if you don't know who Ricky Lake is, you're too young to come talk to me about dating.
Well, if we're gonna go with a reality show like that. Old school. I mean, I'm Phil Donahue.
Phil Donahue, yeah.
He started everything.
So now,
but my point is that
I was going to talk about now the shows, but
so
go ahead. You're right. Yeah.
Now, they're apparently. So this is why when people say sometimes the younger generation of wrestlers need to get their, and by the way, they're not really younger. They're in our age group. You do have to get your head out of your ass because. You're missing the point.
Is anybody realizing that Chris Jericho has admitted he pitched most of these ideas to Vince McMahon? And I'm sorry. Okay, let's take this Chris Jericho, but give him the athleticism of the Y2J era, Chris Jericho. Does this Chris Jericho get over in the Attitude Era?
I think he can.
But wait. To the level that Chris Jericho did.
I guess it just depends on
Does this Chris Jericho beat The Rock and Stone Cold the same night?
This one, even if he's younger, hell no.
But that's my point. You can't argue with the man who, again, no one can ever say you beat The Rock and Stone Cold
in the same night.
There is one man on this planet who has clean victories.
Yeah.
Over Hulk Hogan and Bret Hart. One man. Look him up, because we all know. Look him up, folks.
I saw somebody posted that. That was
but folks, you beat The Rock and Stone Cold in the same night. That is a night that will never go away.
No.
And a night he'll never fake.
You don't get that if you're doing a dance routine the night before.
Yeah.
Folks, now we're going to get to another part, because this is all one big segment.
Yeah.
Now we're going to get to another segment for us today. The reason why I had Leroy put this on the list earlier today was for this. Now we move to someone who we've talked about in the show, we've been glowing about, we loved, and sadly, this guy has a connection to AEW, even though he doesn't. Ladies and gentlemen, there is a guy who looks like the modern AEW wrestler, but
seems... Talk about Ricochet, right?
No.
Okay,
but
good.
Seems to get what it takes to do the right thing.
Okay.
Rey Mysterio is a 5'6" nobody if his career starts today and he's in AEW. But this career starts at 14 years old in a small church in Mexico in a wrestling family.
Yes, sir.
He saw how the sport was supposed to go. He saw how you got over. And Ray, more so than very few people, he found a way to take Lucha Libre, classic Lucha Libre, and somehow go to the WWE, ECW first.
WCW.
ECW first.
Yeah.
Remember, people forget the Cruiserweight division doesn't happen if Psychosis and Rey Mysterio don't have 3 barn burner matches over there in ECW.
Oh, yeah.
Because, God, you want a trilogy, folks? You want a trilogy of matches?
Yeah.
Rey Mysterio and Psychosis, 3 matches in ECW?
Insane.
Oh, my God. But anyway, here's the deal. Rey Mysterio, I've said numerous times in the show, he took... Because I've always said... The Guerreros are truly the first family of Mexican wrestling.
Absolutely.
But Gory was never true lucha.
No.
He was shoot wrestling. He was Inoki of Mexico.
He was more of a technical guy.
Exactly.
That would literally fuck you up just because of his
that's
background.
what Eddie did. Eddie had that combination.
Yes.
That was just and Eddie was also arguably one of the most physically talented people in the history of wrestling.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Folks, he's in levels of a Vern Gagne. Eddie didn't need 5 years in a wrestling school. Eddie Guerrero just needed the body of work that he had. But anyway,
he was incredible.
Rey Mysterio wouldn't be Rey Mysterio if it were modern day. Because remember, Rey created a superhero
basically
before it was watered down by the AEW crowd. Before all of this, and also
there's no Ricochet.
Can I also point something out? Rey Mysterio was the guy who said to guys like Big Show, "Don't sell for me.
Yeah.
Make me look like I'm an underdog."
Yeah.
Rey Mysterio took the underdog role and he ran with it. The Young Bucks are having people twice their size sell for them. What are we doing? Rey Mysterio does not deserve to be disrespected by being put in the same light as the modern day AEW roster, because those guys have no idea what Rey Mysterio was doing. Because Rey Mysterio,
why are we comparing them right now?
Well, because again, the common thing on the internet is everybody gives because again, I guess where I'm going with this is everybody talks about the size of the average AEW wrestler. Which, again, size necessarily doesn't matter. It's what you do with it.
Yeah.
But that's what Rey is. That's what Rey Mysterio has been. Do not tell me that Rey Mysterio is comparable to this roster when, like I said, why is Riho doing things that are actually doing damage to Nyla Rose?
The only one on the roster who has a shred of Rey Mysterio type of credibility is Rey Fenix at this point in time. And that's just...
I put Penta in there.
Penta needs to leave. So...
No.
Continue what you're saying, because I don't want to go on the Penta.
Yeah, no.
Penta needs to leave AEW and go to WWE. He's being wasted.
I agree.
He's being wasted.
I agree.
He's almost 40 now.
Yeah.
He's being wasted in AEW.
Now, with Rey Fenix, I look at him and I see someone who's more talented on the ropes, but Rey Mysterio did moves that made sense. They fit the moment, and when Rey botched, it fit in the match, even though it was a botch. In AEW, they botch 5 times a match.
I was going to say they botch so often that it. Yeah,
but that's the thing. That's the thing. Okay, we talked about. Obviously,
why does that happen? By the way, how does that happen?
Because they're not on Dark.
Well, it's not even that. Well, besides that, oh my God, no. The botches on Dark. Of course, there's a legendary one with Luchasaurus.
Yep.
And what's his face?
We're not even going
to. We're not going to dwell into that.
I did see that one.
Oh my God.
That was because I'm like, that's pre-taped. How did you not edit that out?
Now,
but I don't know how these botches keep happening on live television.
Jesse,
you have 3 hours before the show goes live.
Jesse. We talked about Jackie Robinson on the show. We talked about Ron Simmons. Mm-hmm. We talked about what JBL said. You have to be better than the people that put the barriers up. Jackie Robinson doesn't break the color barrier and actually have that barrier stay down if Jackie Robinson wasn't one of the best shortstops in the game.
True.
Oh, yeah.
Jackie Robinson could hit. Jackie Robinson could run. Jackie Robinson could field. He was a 5-tool player. That's what I'm trying to get at. Rey Mysterio, whether or not Rey Mysterio is, and everyone's like, well, they're doing the same things Rey did. Yeah, but Rey does it well. It's that simple. Jesse and I can sit here and both of us can shoot a basketball. But if Jesse's got a better shot than me, or I've got a better shot than Jesse, guess who the better one is? Guess who's going to get looked at more?
Yeah.
The guy who actually, it doesn't matter if our form looks exactly the same. Does the ball go in the net? That's all it matters. Look, okay, prime example. NFL draft just happened. Mm-hmm. It just happened. Folks, every single one of those kids is a hell of an athlete.
Yes, they are.
Yes.
But are you going to sit there and tell me that the guy the Vikings picked, Kelly Mond, is as good a quarterback as Trevor Lawrence?
Not a chance in hell.
That's
it may be in a couple of years of development, but right now, not a chance in hell.
Now, to your point, Jesse.
Yeah.
Now, you're a Jets fan.
Yeah.
Your guards, not the best. But they trade up to get Elijah Vera Tucker.
Yes.
He does his job, at least on tape, because those guys have kind of worn their welcome out. He's the new up-and-comer.
Yeah.
But he's a guy, why was he picked instead of a couple other guards by the New York Football Jets?
Because they feel
it's because Elijah Vera Tucker did his job better than other guards.
Yes.
There's a lot of big, talented dudes in the draft.
Yeah.
But what separates a first-round guard from a seventh-round guard? It's what you did in college. You were better in college. Rey Mysterio does the same moves as the guys in AEW, but Rey Mysterio is a first-round talent. These guys are seventh-round. Maybe you'll eventually work. But here's the deal. Rey Mysterio, he doesn't get a career if he makes as many mistakes as they do. They're seventh-rounders. We know they're going to make mistakes. We accept there's going to be mistakes.
He was one of the original ones, so it's back to the Jackie Robinson comparison. He had to be better. Mexican wrestlers were used on American television, so that wasn't anything new. But for a high flyer like Rey, an undersized
the Guerreros
guy,
were used on American television,
but they were more technical wrestlers.
Exactly.
So that's
when you watch an old Gory Guerrero match, I'm not seeing Rey Mysterio Sr.
No,
I'm seeing Gory Guerrero.
Yeah.
But Rey Mysterio Sr., I'm seeing Rey Mysterio Jr.
Yeah.
But again, as Jim Cornette pointed out, it's a once-in-a-lifetime talent. There's the old saying, there's always an exception that proves the rule. That's Rey Mysterio.
Yeah.
Rey Mysterio is AEW, but he's an exception because Rey Mysterio's shit looks good. Rey Mysterio botches, and you're like, why? They botch, you're like, oh, wait, they can't do that. because again, as Jim Cornette says, and by the way, as much as you hate Jim, you can't deny this because you're a wrestling fan and you've watched New Japan. Don't do shit that you're not capable of.
No,
don't
true.
attempt shit that you can't do.
That's very
and that's
true.
what Gato's really good at. Don't try to be Okada if you can't do what Okada does.
That's the realest shit ever. Gato will tell a wrestler straight out, especially a young guy, do not try to be the hero. Just do the fucking match that we helped you book because we know what you can do.
And that's why Jay White, I think, gets credit with them. He's got cachet because he showed up. And look, King Switch was always there.
Yeah.
But they saw the talent and realized, okay, you're not a first-round pick, but we can get you in the second or third round, and we can get that out of you.
Yeah.
And now he's number one overall pick.
He's exceptional.
But and this is not a shot at King Switch. Mm-hmm. This is a shot at Jay White, the young lion. You're not Tanahashi. Tanahashi was Tanahashi day one.
Yeah.
Tanahashi's the exception that proves the young lion rule. Tanahashi may have here's the deal. Okay, maybe you know more about this than I do. Even though Tanahashi still went through the young lion stuff, you probably watched him in the dojo and said that guy's gonna be good.
So the difference, usually the young lions, they have the dojo. They get their young lion matches.
Yeah.
Every now and then they might get a roll up win or something.
Yeah.
Either over a young lion or a surprise victory in a tag match when they want to start pushing them.
Yeah.
And then they usually send them on excursion.
Yeah.
Minoru Suzuki and Tanahashi in their times were so good they didn't even send them on excursion.
No.
Because they were just that damn great at a young age. They were like, no, you can wrestle now. We can call you up now.
But that's my but that's my point.
They are an exception to the rule.
There was a system in baseball.
Yeah.
You had to be white. You couldn't be black.
Yeah.
Jackie Robinson comes in, and he plays well, and he gets to the minors. He's in the Negro League, all that kind of stuff. And then an owner looks at that and says, oh, wait, he's better than the guys I've got.
Yep.
And they're white. So he goes and he gets him, and he puts him on the field. And when the field starts, when that first pitch goes, when the clock starts, whatever sport you're in, talent always shows through.
Yes, it does.
Trevor Lawrence was great from the moment he set foot on a middle school football field.
Yeah.
Kelly Mond, probably not. Kellen Mond probably had to work a little bit.
But, well, so to be fair to Kellen Mond in this case, Kellen Mond was actually the third most recruited quarterback. So I think only Trevor Lawrence and the guy who's already in the NFL right now,
Joe Burrow,
are ahead of him.
Yeah, but Trevor Lawrence is still above him, is what I'm saying. But that's my point. And for people that don't know, Trevor Lawrence is going to take the first 2 L's of his life. One will be on Dynamite.
One will be next week.
One will be just on Dynamite. The other one will be in the NFL sometime this year.
He's going to take some L's in Jaguars uniform.
But no, it's just is what I'm saying making sense? That Rey Mysterio is the exception that proves the rule.
Yeah.
There's always someone that you look at and you're like, okay, you are going to go to American television and you're going to somehow translate to what American-style wrestling was and have a 30-year career at it. Tanahashi.
Yeah.
Suzuki. We're not sending you to anywhere else because just go. Just go on our show now because they're that good.
Yeah.
I hate to say it. The Rock wasn't even a first overall pick.
No,
he wasn't. I mean, you could tell he had the athletic ability. I don't think they knew he had the vocal ability. But again, The Rock wasn't shot to a rocket the day he walked in. He was on the next line of cuts. We all know that. The story's been told about 1,000 times at this point.
Yeah.
Yep.
He was it the fall or the spring cut?
It was going to be the spring cut.
He was going to be the spring cut.
Yep.
So, folks, look, Andrew Luck, day one, you knew that was going to be the first overall pick. Trevor Lawrence, that's the first overall pick. They were the first overall picks from the day they set foot in a middle school Pop Warner field.
Yep.
No doubt. Kellen Mond, you got some talent there, kid, but you got to work on it. Tom Brady is not a first overall pick. He's the GOAT, but that's because Tom Brady outworks everybody. Andrew Luck, in one arm, and I'm talking the non-throwing arm, had more ability to play quarterback than Tom Brady. But Tom Brady just outworks everybody. More than Christian Cage, but we'll get to that a little. We'll get to that at some point later.
Oh my God.
Edge ultimately won more belts than anybody in WWE. Edge was not a first overall pick. Mm-mm. Hulk Hogan, you looked at him and you were like, for the era he was in, that's a first overall pick. It made sense. That's why they broke his leg, because they're not breaking the leg of a random young lion.
Yeah.
There's a match going on in there. But no. Love or hate Hogan.
Yeah.
He was a number one. They're not breaking the leg of a random young lion.
No.
Suzuki's not beating up. I mean, Suzuki will beat up lions.
That's
a rite of passage.
That's a rite of passage.
But I don't think Suzuki is doing to a Tanahashi what to a Jay White.
Yeah, no.
Jay White.
Yeah, no.
Jay White is The Rock in a sense of you find out he's this good.
Yeah. But
you don't know that from the young lion days.
Yeah, no.
Trevor Lawrence, from the moment he stepped on a football field, and even if it was before middle school, I'm not even going to repeat that statement.
Yeah.
From the moment he threw a football, you're like, this kid's going to be good.
Yeah.
He didn't have to. He was the first overall pick his true freshman year.
Yeah, he was going to be the number overall pick whenever he left college.
He could have left after his freshman year if they allowed him to. But the NFL's not a place for teenagers. It's not. It's not a place for teenagers.
About to say, those grown men are very well developed.
Yes. But no, John Randall, one of the greatest of all time, got a gold jacket. Nobody wanted him in the draft.
True.
Yeah.
But John Randall's a Hall of Famer.
Yes,
Gold jacket. Folks, Rey Mysterio is a guy that from when his uncle first saw him said, "You are going to be more than just another wrestler who puts on a mask and says, 'I'm taking the old name.'"
Yeah.
Not that there aren't a bunch of second generation El Hijos in Mexico that are great.
Ton of them. Yeah.
There's a lot of great ones, but when you grow up in a wrestling family,
yeah.
when you understand it from the perspective that it's supposed... Again, Rey Mysterio also grew up in a family that knew how it was supposed to work.
Yes.
The Young Bucks were raised by a conservative hippie. And that's not and that's not a shot, that's a truth.
That's a fact.
Yeah,
and that's just a fact of life.
They understood wrestling from the Vince McMahon entertainment side. Sorry, boys, you did. You got yourselves over because of what PWG was doing. But a
lot of them knew the WWE style.
But that's the thing, Jesse. Kevin Owens was bigger than PWG.
He became bigger than PWG, but if not for PWG, you don't even know who Kevin Steen is. In all honesty,
no, I agree. but I would Brian Danielson is not a number one overall pick, but he turned himself into arguably, and this isn't a flying goat joke by JBL,
the best wrestler
arguably
of this generation.
the best technical wrestler of maybe any generation. I think if Daniel gets a shot in Vern Gagne's era, Daniel wrestles and wrestles very, very prominently.
Oh, yes.
Because he was that good.
Oh, yeah.
So, to all the AEW
but also,
people,
once again, blessed because he was being trained while the dude was having his struggles, but by one of the greatest showmen of all time.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes, 100%. Now, it's funny. You're referring to...
Shawn Michaels.
Yes. Funny story. Shawn Michaels is actually responsible for Shinsuke Nakamura.
Yes, he is.
Because Shawn Michaels trained Bryan Danielson. Bryan Danielson was technically the trainer of Shinsuke Nakamura. Yep. However, Shinsuke Nakamura is once again an exception. You knew, Jesse, from way, way back, that Shinsuke was destined to be on American television at some point.
Oh, yeah.
Tanahashi...
He just treated himself that way.
Here's the deal. Tanahashi would work for the wrestling fan. Shinsuke is going to work for the casual fan because Tanahashi's just technically great. When I see the Dragon sweep, folks, that hurts my knee. That's not even Kenny's is all right. Yeah. AJ's is good.
Yeah.
When Tanahashi does it,
Tanahashi does it. It looks like
my knee cracks. My knee cracks. Oh God, it hurts. But
it looks painful.
But no, it's just you look at someone and you know.
Yeah.
You look at Rey Mysterio, you know. I look at half at AEW and I'm like, no. I don't know. Well, I know, but it's not that I know you're going to be great. I know you ain't going to go much farther than this. There's a reason WWE didn't call you before AEW existed. There's a reason you weren't on their radar. And by the way, everyone's on their radar.
Usually
everyone's on their radar.
At least the guys who go out and have experience with companies like New Japan, All Japan.
And I love this segue into a non-AEW thing for once. Folks, breaking news, huge news. I believe they're still not 100% official, but there was a tweet. WWE now has basically a working relationship with
Major League Wrestling.
MLW.
Mm-hmm. I think that's nice.
And folks, here's the deal. We're going to be able to see a lot of people who don't get a lot of NXT time. They're going to be on Fusion.
Yeah.
They're going to be in MLW. MLW might send some people over there.
Yep.
I think this is great because, but again, Court Bauer over in MLW, they have tried to be a serious wrestling product.
Yes.
They have not. Again, folks, we can shit on AEW.
Now, the most interesting thing about this relationship, though, is I want people to remember Joey Styles is one of the creators.
Yes.
Of this relationship. And let's be fair, his time in WWE, while he was right, it did not end well.
No. Yep. Before we delve in that, let me what this is. Folks, we shit on AEW, but their style of wrestling makes sense for their fans.
Sure.
But it's a joke version of wrestling. It's a parody of wrestling. You can't deny that anymore, Jesse. It's a parody of what wrestling is supposed to be. MLW doesn't have the feel of an AEW. MLW
is taken very seriously. Now they do have some comedic segments, I would say, but they take their stories and their style presentation and all that.
But
very
even Vince
seriously.
McMahon will tell you, even Jim Cornette will tell you,
I got to be honest.
Comedy has to exist somewhere.
I think
it does. Yes.
I think this relationship is more. It's not even about NXT. I just think Paul's going to benefit a lot from it.
Oh yeah.
So for those who don't know, Jacob Fatu is Roman Reigns' very big cousin and, of course, older brother of the Usos.
And one of the biggest reasons why he's not in WWE basically is because of his
No. One of the biggest reasons he's not in WWE recently is because he's turned them down. So,
no, I'm talking about early on. They didn't touch Jacob.
Well, early on because of the stuff, but in the last few years, he's actually turned them down because
which was
Triple
the best
H has
move for
tried to get him to NXT.
Which was the best.
Yeah.
Now, by the way, I've said on this show,
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen, now that they're going to be on Vice, you are going to see the best world champion in all of professional wrestling. And that's no offense to Will Ospreay.
No.
But the best presented world champion
is Jacob Fatu.
And
to me,
and you'll see Contra.
I think the reason why this might be the biggest win and why this deal got done, I don't even think it was because of Triple H, because they ended up buying Evolve after when the pandemic first started.
Right.
Yeah, that's what they're saying. They're comparing it to WWE's
with Evolve,
relationship with Evolve,
but that's not the deal here.
No.
Yeah.
So Vince. So the story has been out there for 3 years now. Vince wants Jacob Fatu.
Yes.
Especially now that he's got Roman Reigns where he is. He wants Jacob Fatu because it's in Vince's mind. If he can put these two together, oh my God, the stories he can write. The stories Paul Heyman can write with these two together.
I'll be honest. Me as a wrestling fan, I want to see Jacob Fatu more than I want to see Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson versus Roman Reigns. Now, as a wrestling fan,
I don't know when we'll have the versus moment, but I think the biggest part of this one, it benefits MLW because now you get to put your world champion on probably one of the best shows that WWE has each week, because I think Jacob Fatu is actually going to get the chance to get used on SmackDown.
Yes.
Like Vince wants this dude. But to be fair, Jacob's like, listen, man, I'm actually doing very well in MLW. People know who I am. And, like, the money's good, but, like, how am I ever going to get pushed over my cousin? You know what I mean? That's an understandable thing why he turned Vince down.
Yeah.
But now that they got the partnership, he go, listen, he ain't gonna lose either when we bring Jacob over. So when you guys let us borrow Jacob, we want to put a story together with him and Roman Reigns. Now it's very interesting.
The reason why this makes more sense than when Cody was bullshitting us and saying, "Oh, I'm open to WWE don't want to work with your dumbasses. They've seen your weekly program. They don't need that bullshit."
So
the reason why this makes sense.
I'm not here to start a rumor.
No.
But there have been some reports.
Yeah.
That there have been some talks between Cody, Tony Khan, and Paul Levesque. So
that's because Tony Khan is starting to realize, I can't do this shit right.
So there is a chance.
Well, no, Cody is. Tony Khan is unconvinced of anything.
Yeah.
There is a chance that there is a forbidden door. I don't know when it'll happen, because this took 3 years to get done.
Yeah.
I don't know when it'll happen, but there now, for those wondering if there's a chance of an AEW WWE working relationship, which, by the way, just means, Kenny, you're going to lose every week to a better champion. Just know that. Whether it be Finn Balor, Killer Cross, Johnny Gargano, it doesn't matter.
Roman is a better champion than Kenny
if
Omega.
It's Roman, you're getting squashed. Vince is like, I'll let you borrow Roman Reigns, but you're getting squashed.
But I hate to say it. But I said, name one world champion in WWE who isn't more believable than Kenny Omega. I'm serious.
Yeah, no.
They're all more believable
Raw
than
has
Kenny
his
Omega.
flaws, but Bobby he's booked like
Santos
incredibly.
Escobar is booked better than Kenny Omega.
Oh my God!
And that's the cruiserweight champion.
Well, actually, it's Kushida, which is even
better
because that was someone Kenny had a hard time with in New Japan.
I also want to point something out. It was a huge surprise, especially coming off the ladder match win. I was so happy when when Kushida did that.
He's deserving. I hope only reason I hope it's a short one is because I need Paul to elevate my guy one more time, because seeing him in that main event picture was nice.
Can I also point something out? I don't care what anyone says about Kushida's run so far. I guarantee you, knowing Kushida as well as I've found him on the internet.
Yeah.
I don't think he's given one damn. I think he's shown up.
It's been a really good run. He's enjoyed it.
No, but that's my point. I feel like Kushida was Kalisto when he got the U.S. title. He showed up. He just did what they asked, and he showed out. And by the way, folks, Kushida, I got to cross him off my list of wrestlers I got to see live.
Yeah, man, that's incredible because he's incredible.
It was everything that I thought it was going to be, and then some. Because he's funny live too. He was playing with Cameron Grimes' top hat. It was so good. But back to your point, this makes sense because these are the two companies that I always said if they get together, no one's really going to not have the same idea philosophy. No. People can say Vince is shitty on the wrestling business. He's taking it seriously, whether it's misguided or not. He's at least taking it seriously.
He's always taking it seriously.
Yeah, exactly. But MLW, but first of all, we're talking about Jacob Fatu, and that might be who Vince wants. Folks, the rest
of that roster, though,
that roster
is incredible.
Holy shit.
Tom Lawler, who just became the first New Japan Strong Openweight champion. With all of his boys. MJF's former crew. By the way, they're still there, and they're still very good. I think they're kind of technically broken up.
Can you imagine
Alex Hammerstone on not even NXT TV?
How AEW got MJF and not with Alexander Hammerstone? If it was a money thing, I'm going to look at Tony Khan and be like, you had a chance to get Alexander Hammerstone.
Dude, if it's a money thing, I'd be like, you're paying Joey Janela 6 figures. You could pay Alex Hammerstone 7. I don't care.
Yep, true.
Yeah, by the way, Trevor, quick note, when it comes time to re-sign with the Jaguars, sadly your pay may be dependent upon what the AEW roster is currently getting paid. Sorry, Trevor.
He'll be all right. Sean Khan has a lot more money than his son. Shot has got that taken care of.
All right. But no, it's just, Leroy, when I say that, you're excited because MLW is good.
Oh yeah, no, I saw that too, and I was like, oh sweet, what's gonna happen now? And then I
it's a good women's roster too.
It's an excellent women's roster.
Can we just let Tessa and Daga go?
I will say this. Well, actually, Tessa has been featured on WWE television more because she's been working out with a lot of the women wrestlers. I think she's going to get signed to WWE.
There is a rumor, though, that there's serious talks for Tessa and Daga to go to AEW, but there's also a rumor.
Oh, no, they could take Daga.
But the rumor is they just want Daga, not Tessa, which wouldn't surprise me because Tessa would throw a monkey wrench into everything Kenny does in the women's division. Well, a good women's wrestler.
Well, because as soon as the day she walks in, she's the outside of, and by the way, the only one outside of, and that's Thunder Rosa. She literally becomes the best women's wrestler in that division.
And the sad part about it is that, and I hate to say this, she's so head and shoulders above the rest of that roster that any competitive match she has makes no sense.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That is no disrespect.
That's true.
That's no disrespect to Nyla, Hikaru, no. Ryu, anyone in that division. Sorry, ladies. She walks in. If you're competitive for even 5 seconds with her, I can't take it seriously. I can't. She might be a bitch with what she did to Impact, but that don't take away from what she can do in the ring.
No.
This business, there's egos outside the ring. We ignore that when you get in the ring.
And to be honest, not being signed recently has humbled her. So it's. I think the.
Sadly, it also kind of shows that Impact was the only major people interested in you, and that's when you sit there and you're like, maybe I shouldn't have pissed them off.
Because when they didn't want you back, you didn't realize none of the Mexican companies want you because now they've heard about you.
Mexican companies, I don't think people realize, they're not as in competition with Vince as people think.
They don't care about what goes on.
They don't care, but here's the deal. They listen to what he says.
Because
they're the last. Impact will take Vince cast-offs. You got to be something special to be a cast-off of Vince and go to AAA. You really do. AAA don't usually take it.
The fact that
Andrade's different. Andrade's different.
Andrade's a talent. Andrade's a talent that, to be fair, they wasted. He's a talent. But otherwise, they're not taking cast-offs from WWE. AAA doesn't care. They create stars every couple of months. They don't care.
No. but it's just
they are WWE. They just don't speak English. That's what AAA is.
Yeah. But it's just
Have you ever watched a Triple Mania show, people?
Oh, it's so good.
Oh my God,
it's so good. Well, and now there's rumors of like Lucha Underground coming back.
Yeah, which now I mean you're talking about as a wrestling fan, I'm like that's just more riches that I'm happy to have.
I don't have time for all this of Lucha.
I'm about to say I don't know. I gotta make time somehow, but man,
that's why somebody asked me. It's like, you do this, and I'm like, yeah. You keep up on all that. I'm like, pretty much. I try.
We try.
Then he's
luckily there's me who I find a way to catch up on all.
That's where like,
oh, so do I. But it's just between what I figure out and you figure out, we put together a show.
Well, that's what I said. It's like, well,
but anyway,
they asked me how I do it. I'm like, because I got 2 other people.
I am extremely happy.
This is going to be a good deal.
That this was the deal that was made. I can't wait. It's going to be hot. Not as hot as the Haitian heat that comes out of Al Sands Haitian heat hot sauce.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, yes, every show you hear us talk about it, but if you're a new listener, that's why we talk about it, because it is some of the best organic hot sauce you're going to get. And when I say organic, I don't believe he markets it as organic, or I think he does. But either way, folks, it is a healthy hot sauce.
Yes,
if
sir.
you're on a diet, if you're a buddy of mine and his lovely wife, they currently use Noom to like work on their diets.
Yeah.
And they've done very well on their diets. And I always say, though, but here's the deal. You can use this on Noom.
Yeah.
You can use
Yes,
this.
You can.
Oh, yes.
This will not disrupt the balance of calories or whatever Noom does. But it's like, folks, this is a hot sauce for everybody. The base sauce, it's not hot. It's flavorful. There is a hot sauce, but the flavorful sauce, the base sauce, that's what we're talking about right here. Absolutely wonderful. Well, I put it on damn near everything. It works with just about everything you can do. It also works as a wonderful marinade. You get a great flavor out of the meat in it. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, please, on Facebook, Haitian Heat, Al Sands hot sauce. It is a
we'll have
wonderful.
to try. So he actually did finally
thing.
get a business number for it as well.
Yes.
Oh, cool.
So we'll have to try to put that up.
We'll definitely before
we got to contact Al.
We'll contact Al
and see if we can do that. So,
and we'll get some specifics there. But ladies and gentlemen, no, please, on Facebook, just type in Haitian Heat hot sauce. Look for the blue and the red and the wonderful logo that he's created.
Oh, and I did get word that site is almost done.
Really?
The
it's
Amazon
getting
site?
close.
All right.
It's getting close.
Fantastic. And
it's
you know
getting
what?
that close to that great time of the year because
Yes.
it's getting warm.
Yes.
The grills are coming.
Folks,
Got to put
folks,
some of
I don't
that
care
shit
where
on
in the
there.
world you are. If he'll ship to you, buy it.
Buy it.
You are not going to be disappointed.
And you'll love the flavor, man.
It's
the
absolutely
flavor
fantastic.
The flavor will stay with you more than the heat, and you'll almost become a fiend to it. It's so good.
Yes, and folks, I also want to point out, because I think we should explain from a culinary standpoint what we're getting at. There are the 4 hottest peppers in the world are in this. There's the Scorpion.
Yes.
There's the Carolina Reaper, both man-made, not naturally going.
Yep.
There's also the Ghost Chili.
Yep.
And then, is there a 4th one hotter than the habanero, or are we talking about the habanero? The habanero is the 4th one going?
Yeah, I think the habanero is the 4th one.
Okay, perfect. So anyway, but folks, what I'm trying to get at is that all of these peppers, when you remove the capsaicin, there is a fruity element to this. There is a sweetness to that.
Yeah.
There's also Serrano chili in there. It's fantastic. Leroy's got the bottle right there. But anyway, my point is this, is that when you all right, so the Scoville unit scale, which is what measures how hot a pepper is.
Yes, the heat.
That is actually a unit of measurement of how many drops of water it takes to remove all traces of heat in a pepper.
Yeah.
So when you remove the heat, all that's left is the fruity flavor that all these peppers naturally have.
Correct.
The Ghost Chili is actually a very fruity, sweet taste.
Yes.
If you remove the fact that it's the hottest naturally growing chili that has ever freaking existed.
Correct.
And it's been, I've watched grown football players be driven to tears on this thing. But anyway, can I see that bottle for a sec?
You want me to tell you what's in it?
Yeah, no, please.
All the peppers?
Yeah.
All right. We got jalapeno.
Yep.
Habanero.
Yep.
Sriracha. Tai Chi.
Yep.
Scorpion.
Yep.
Ghost.
Yep.
Carolina.
Yep.
Yeah.
So anyway, but folks, I want to reiterate, that is the base sauce he's reading off of.
Yeah.
It is not going to stick with you. The heat won't, but like Jesse said, it adds a fruity element that surprisingly works with a lot of meats.
Yes, it does.
Normally with meat, you're going for that sort of saltiness.
Yeah.
But this creates a hell of a balance, and it's very good.
It's almost like it almost creates like a teriyaki kind of flavor.
It does.
Like it's very sweet.
Yes.
It's very.
And I also want to point out,
gives
folks,
more juice to it.
And I also want to point out what I think will also be nice is whether you're a chili head or a psychopath like some people, it's always that afterburn where you kind of enjoy. It sits at the back of your throat like a fine whiskey.
Yeah.
But it doesn't burn.
Correct.
It's a nice sort of warmth,
yes,
but
sir.
it's not a burn.
Yeah.
So, folks, the reason why I talk about it is because I use it.
On everything.
I'm not going to sit here and promote something that I'm not going to use.
Actually, I gotta go pick up my bottle tomorrow. So.
Yep. Right. Yep. But it's just, folks. Again, if he'll ship it to you, I don't care where in the world you are, please order a bottle. We promise you will not be disappointed. And if you are disappointed, well, just stop listening to the show because we're going to talk about it every week.
Yes.
But you can always, like I said, right now the site. I've gotten word from a friend of Al's. The site is getting close to done.
Perfect.
But go to Haitian Heat on Facebook.
Will they be available through Amazon? Do they know that yet?
He didn't know that yet, but he knows the site is getting close to done.
Fantastic. Okay.
And then when you go to Haitian Heat, there is now a new business number. So if you actually feel more comfortable calling,
yes,
you can actually call to order.
Yes. And again, folks, just like all the ingredients right there on the bottle, locally owned. And you know what? I'm only going to say this because it matters currently.
Yes.
Black owned.
Yes.
But I don't want you to buy it because it's black owned. I want you to buy it because it is a wonderful product. I would not.
It is a great product.
Even if it was black owned, I'm sorry, folks. I'm not endorsing something that I don't believe in.
I hear that.
That's a great sauce.
Yes, it is.
So, ladies and gentlemen, buy it not because it's black owned. Buy it because it's a great sauce. And remember, folks, if you're on a diet, this is the flavor that can be added.
He
to
literally
that
made
diet.
this for himself because he is an athlete, so he needs
a professional boxer.
He's
mind
a professional boxer, a very good professional boxer.
Now, I've got a buddy who's actually the personal trainer of my fiance.
Yeah.
He hasn't gotten Allison into the meal planning yet, only because that's a different type of discipline that Allison's just not into right now. But his meal prep, I give him credit. I believe it's mostly a brown rice.
Yeah.
Because that's the healthier of
That's
the two.
the healthiest rice.
But it's a plain brown rice and like plain chicken breast. So there's never really any sauce, and there's dedication. But if you want to have that type of dedication with flavor, Haitian Heat hot sauce is the sauce for you because it will not hurt your meal prep. It will not hurt your meal regimens. You can have this, and it will still allow you to achieve the results that you want out of your workout routine.
Absolutely.
So, ladies and gentlemen, Haitian Heat, Al Sands, look for the blue and the red. It's a wonderful sauce. And not to steal it from you, Franks, but we do put that shit on everything.
Damn right we do.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're moving on here. We have gotten to so many things today. So before we get to what I think is going to be a very fun segment, although we're going to run through a couple of things here. So actually, this will be the last segment once we do this, Leroy, because I really want to talk about this. Number one,
is the birthday smell what you're cooking? Does the birthday,
ladies and gentlemen,
like to cook?
This day in wrestling history with Leroy Britton.
Oh yeah.
We don't have music for that yet.
No. Well, yeah,
we'll work on it.
You know what? I might write something.
This right here.
There we go. All right.
I'm gonna give.
What do you got for this day in wrestling history?
All right. This will be fun. All right. 21 years ago today in WCW Thunder, people are, what is he talking about that for? There was a.
He says Thunder.
The light goes
the light was like,
this is why we don't bring up Thunder.
All right. There was a guerrilla warfare battle royal to earn a WCW World Heavyweight Championship match at the Great American Bash.
This was another. This was another issue, not to interrupt the whole moment, but this was another issue that WCW had that sadly AEW is falling into is so much happened on Thunder that never translated to Nitro.
Yeah, it did make sense.
And that's what Dark is to Dynamite right now. Is just there's so much happening on Dark. And it's funny. People look at us and say, well, you guys are nitpicking. How is it nitpicking if your main television show is technically half being done on your YouTube show? That's not nitpicking. That's obvious.
Yeah.
Half the room can figure that one out.
Yeah.
But Ric Flair won that one.
Of course.
To get the next match. But they're very interesting. There was a lot of different stars that were in there.
Yeah.
But Randy Macho Man Savage was in there. That would be his first appearance on a WCW program since October 25th, 1999 Nitro, and his last.
Yep.
We don't see Savage again at all in WCW. We see him later in TNA.
Yep.
That I thought was very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And then here's another fun one. 19 years ago today, Bill Goldberg did an interview on ESPN Radio saying that his contract was bought out by AOL Time Warner, effectively making him a free agent, making him able to go wherever he went.
Yeah.
After a brief stint over in New Japan, he made his 1-year run in WWE.
And what a 1-year run that was.
It was.
I mean, folks, Eric Bischoff said it best. In the world of wrestling, it takes time to earn the fans' respect. Then there's Bill Goldberg, where from day one,
it was pretty beloved.
It just works.
All right, and then here's another little fun thing.
Okay.
11 years ago, good old Country Music Television, CMT, announces the creation of Hulk Hogan's Celebrity Championship Wrestling.
Boy, that was successful, wasn't it?
I watched it. It was funny. Only when him and Bischoff did it.
Yep.
Only went for one season.
For a reason.
Can't imagine why it only lasted one season.
God.
Dennis Rodman won the whole thing.
Of course it did.
Yeah, so it kind of helps. I thought
Of course!
All right. And now we come to lovely birthdays for today.
Yes.
The first today, fortunately, he's not with us. He had been 58 this year. Ray Washington Taylor Jr., otherwise known as the Big Boss Man.
Wow.
Oh, man.
It was his birthday today. God rest his soul.
One of those big men that just redefined what it meant to be a big man, but at the same time, he got what it meant to be a big man. Big Boss Man, to me, for the big guys today, would be what Eddie Guerrero could be in NXT to the smaller guys.
True.
Can you imagine if Big Boss Man and Eddie gave like a 1-day seminar or something? Like the difference that could make.
The knowledge they would be dropping on you.
Oh my God!
Incredible.
And yes, on this day, born May 2nd, 1972. Somebody.
If you smell what The Rock is cooking.
Well, his daddy and his mama were smelling some of that.
Former multi-time WWE champion, a Mount Rushmore, one of the greatest stars in the history of the business,
and now an A-lister in Hollywood.
Ladies and gentlemen, the most successful and highest-grossing earner in action films history, the one, the only Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. And folks,
you know, Zach,
he is
I gotta
49
ask,
today.
And by the way,
what? How do you feel about his birthday? You know.
Oh, I don't know.
It doesn't matter how you feel.
There we go. I'm always up for one of those on the show. But also, folks. Not only that, he's an entrepreneur.
Or we can tell Zach, shut your mouth and know your role.
Yeah. Well, I do that every day.
Well, my role is to talk, so I don't know what you're talking about. But the thing is that folks, he actually is partnered with a very good vodka.
Yes.
My brother's a big fan of Dwayne Johnson.
Tara, I forget how to pronounce the last name. It is a sweet, and yet it's not a harsh vodka.
I've seen celebrities make vodka deals, and it's just a bad vodka. Vodka's a hard drink.
Yeah.
The Rock, not bad.
No, it's Tara something. I'm sorry, I forget the last part of it.
I've enjoyed it.
Also,
also at 49 years old, the owner, operator of the XFL.
Yes, he bought it last year. So,
which, by the way, also, I think this gets lost. The Rock also bought it with his ex-wife.
Yes.
So it shows that you know what? You can be cordial after something doesn't work out.
Absolutely.
The thing about it is, for me, is The Rock got a lot of his hardships out early.
Yeah.
At this point, I don't think The Rock has an issue in life. I'm serious.
I mean, besides the fact that Vin Diesel is a Rudy Poo candy ass. Okay, that's my last Rock reference.
It's probably not, but we got plenty of show left.
All right.
But no.
And have you watched his show?
Young Rock?
Young Rock?
Young Rock is very good.
Here's the thing.
I love the show.
Here's the thing. That show.
I wasn't gonna watch it at first.
Two things. That show is actually well done, but at this point, I think The Rock is at a point in his life where he won't do anything if it's not done correctly.
Oh yeah.
And number two, am I the only person that realizes that he's not even trying to hide the fact this is his pitch to become president? I'm sorry. Am I the only person who doesn't realize he's not even trying to hide it?
He's already talked about he actually might run in a couple of years.
Wouldn't want to vote for him? My kids would be like, Dad, you're voting for Rock, aren't you? Yes, don't worry.
But here's the deal. This is a guy who, unlike our former Cheeto, I actually know that he's successful in business.
Yes.
He's actually somebody who gets what it means to drive and work hard and do the right things.
I have not yet seen him have to put a business in bankruptcy 7 or 8 or maybe 10 times.
So in other words, Rock could look at Putin and say, you know what? I'm going to take my shoe, shove it up your ass, and turn it sideways.
No. What he's going to
knock
do
it off.
is he's going to take his size 16. He's going to turn that bitch sideways.
I said he had one more.
And he's going to stick it straight up Putin's candy ass.
Okay, I will say this on an actual real note. The Rock, I think, would be just like Barack Obama in the sense that he would know that it takes a lot of work.
Yes.
It takes a lot of drive.
And he has no hair, so he doesn't have to worry about going gray.
Exactly.
That's true. That is true.
But it's just here's my thing. Black, white, doesn't matter. That is a success story.
Oh, yeah.
And that is somebody who lives and breathes that, you know what? Hard work has to happen.
Yeah.
And by the way, can we also point out one of the damn nicest celebrities to their fans
absolutely.
you're ever going to find?
Absolutely.
A young girl from Minnesota invited him to prom, and he didn't go because he was too busy filming, I think it was the Jungle movie.
Yeah.
I think so,
And not the Jungle movie from Disney, but like the Jungle Excursion movie.
Yeah.
But he still
sent her a video.
He still spoke to her through the No. He spoke through the PA announcements at her high school.
Oh yeah.
He rented out a 200-person seat theater, and he paid for all the popcorn, all the stuff, and they got to see a private screening of Rampage. He's a guy who knows two things: hard work pays off, and he's nowhere without the people that buy the tickets.
That's true.
He gets that. He knows that. He understands that. Yes, I can have my privacy, but I can't make myself private. Because the only way I'm going to keep getting what I want is to know that people want to see me.
Yeah.
And by the way, on a wrestling note, someone who, even though he's now the biggest A-list star in all of Hollywood, he still knows who built the wrestling business. He still gives respect to all those guys. He still has a lot of love for all those guys.
Absolutely.
And you know what? Again, a very controversial star who I think was way ahead of his time, because obviously now we're having this renaissance of like black culture in America.
Yeah.
I think Nation of Domination, that version of Nation of Domination, the original one, now, oh my God, it would go off like wildfire.
So my favorite video of his is when he's singing.
Not the version of Nation Domination with Leroy and Jason in it.
Hey, that was a pretty good one, all right. I still love the video where he was sitting there with his little girl and singing Maui's song. And he's like, "Is that Daddy?" No, that's not.
Yeah. Till this day, she still does not believe that.
But she loves Aquaman. She loves Aquaman. Yeah. We saw that video. Yeah. But just folks, right there is the story of seeing an eviction notice and never wanting to ever see his mom do that again. That's a guy. That's a Conor McGregor who says, "I'm going to work hard so the rest of my family doesn't have to."
Yeah.
And by the way, Conor's doing something very similar. Yeah. The #1 whiskey in the world is proper number 12.
Yeah.
You know, Conor, another hard worker, all this stuff. But
you better be careful though. He got himself out the fight game there for a little bit. Now he's trying to fight some young. The problem with the reason why wrestling works for someone like The Rock to come back, and while UFC is a little bit tougher for someone like Conor, is because those young guys have still been fighting. They're young, they're hungry.
Yep.
So when you get in a ring with them,
yeah,
they'll bust your ass. But to The Rock, much love to your success, man. Can't wait to see what you do next. Which is going to be a DC movie.
And that's the most important thing that Jesse has to point out. There's always a next for him.
Yes.
Oh God, yes.
That man will work himself until he can no longer.
Of course. So he got his second shot a couple days ago, and now he's going to be headed back to do more work on Black Adam.
Yeah.
And then of course he's also in talks because he heard the fans, and he said while they're not going to bring back, he understands why they will not bring back Zack Snyder. He wants the universe reinstated. So now there's hope. Because if The Rock says he wants it done, WB must listen. They don't have to say yes, but they must listen. If we can have a bit of a
nerd conversation for literally 2 minutes before we get to our last two topics. Number one, first of all, 4-hour movie, people are complaining. What is this, your first time? A 4-hour movie,
people were
really?
complaining that was 4 hours?
You didn't watch Lord of the Rings?
Man, listen, so me and my buddies,
the Snyder Cut's 4 hours. That's what I'm saying.
We watched Lord of the Rings extended cuts. It was like 12 hours. Now, it flies.
If you want to do all 6, all 3 Hobbits and all 3 regulars.
We had to do the 3 Hobbits on a different day.
You need like 3 days.
21 hours.
21 hours.
Oh, I need
so you can do it all.
I need a nap.
I still have a plan to get some people together to sit in my apartment and just basically be like, we're doing this. get 2 days off of work. We'll order food. We're doing this. 6 movies. Let's go.
Whoa.
Darren, that's a marathon.
No, he just did a 5K.
I know, but that's just,
that's funny.
That took 3 hours. That's one movie. But anyway, no. Back to my point. If Warner Brothers really wants to compete with Marvel, just give Zack Snyder the reins. He gets what it's supposed to be.
They're not going to, though, because Zack has already said he doesn't want to work with WB again.
I'll wrap it in wrestling. Vince knows his audience, even though they think he doesn't. MLW knows their audience. Lucha knows their audience. Zack Snyder likes to have things be dark and brooding. That's DC. Marvel's
works better when it's that way.
Marvel is the company of hope, and Stan Lee created it like that.
Yeah.
DC is not the company of hope. DC is like the superhero will lose once or twice, but they'll get it in the end. But no. Anyway, so moving on to our last 2 topics. This first one I don't think will take too long, but this is a very interesting idea. It's been reported recently in the last couple of days that Mickie James, recently released from WWE, suggested an all-women's brand to Vince McMahon, and was told reportedly, nothing's been fact-checked, that women's wrestling doesn't draw money. Now, I will say this. This is the wrestling business. Outside of ultimately 24 people, the wrestling business has really not drawn money except for your top guys. So what I'm saying is that while a Charlotte and a Becky can make you $1 million, while a Ronda Rousey can for a short period of time, Jesse, we don't need you right now.
To give her credit,
yes.
She is a draw.
Yes.
I also am happy for her and Travis Brown. They're gonna have a baby.
I tried to ignore this part, but Jesse's not gonna let it go.
Yes, I know. Yes.
But anyway, I'm the first guy to defend what women's wrestling could be. I talked about. Did you see Beth's Icons yet?
Yeah.
So good. But it's just, I hate to be that guy, but Vince, as I pointed out earlier, listens to his audience. Folks, this is not a Vince problem. This is, we're not going to buy Evolution 4 times a year. We're not.
No.
I'm sorry. The first Evolution was good, but it was not to the level of a SummerSlam or a Backlash or a, not non-wrestling. First of all, nothing touches WrestleMania. Wrestle Kingdom's getting there, but it still isn't WrestleMania. But my point is this, is that I don't know how wrong Vince is, because unlike Mickie, Vince kind of has the numbers in front of him. Becky, Charlotte, Bayley, and Sasha to a lesser degree, but definitely they had the summer of all summers, and I'm not going to take that away from them. They can push the needle, but they're not going to push the needle 52 weeks a year.
I disagree. Let me explain.
No. And I'm open to that, but let me just get my finish out. The audience proved through the numbers they're just not ready for that.
I disagree with that too, but I'll let you finish.
I'm more talking American television, but
we'll talk about the numbers from Evolution and stuff. But like I said, I'll let you finish.
But my point is that again, I'm going to let you two take this, but I'm going to be the guy who at least puts the Vince defense in there so people can at least look at it from the full perspective.
And Vince is wrong in this case, but like I said, I'm going to let you guys go first, and then I'll hop in.
While I'm not against it, I hate to say it, those are segments that while we're happy they're getting more time, what is Vince? I mean, Vince will look at the numbers. People didn't know about the quarterly, hourly ratings until AEW decided to start bringing it up.
Because they're fucking assholes.
What exactly is moving the needle in women's wrestling, and can you do a weekly show about that? So I'm going to toss it over to Leroy. I am not saying Vince was right to just completely dismiss it.
I get that. Yep.
But,
I get that.
Folks, the market ultimately is driven by the fans. It's not driven by the people who are running it. Vince McMahon has worked with Warrior, Bret Hart, Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, a lot of guys who just walked out on him. He brought Stone Cold back. Whether or not Vince was okay with that, probably was more okay with it than the guys I just talked about, but it still was a money move. It was a business move. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if the world is ready for an all-women's brand that's going to be promoted at that level. I don't know that. I personally would give it a trial run, but it does cost money to put a trial run together. And the other thing about it is it's WWE. They're not going to give it the AEW crappy camera angle treatment. They're going to give it their all. Yeah. So is it a check you can write that's going to have a return? And by the way, this goes back to the one, you guys might remember her name. I can always never remember her name. She's the big black woman who's on Saturday Night Live. I can't think of her name off the top of my head.
The name, it'll come to me. It eludes me right now.
She was in the Ghostbusters remake. Yeah. Okay?
Not Leslie, right?
I think it's Leslie.
Yeah, Leslie. I can't remember her last name. Yes.
Yeah, okay. So yeah.
Leslie Jones, I think.
Leslie Jones. Okay. So Leslie Jones was obviously in Ghostbusters.
Yes.
Leslie Jones was one of the main characters in Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
That movie lost Sony $20 million. And that's after all the money they put into it.
To be fair, though, that movie wasn't very good.
Well, no.
It wasn't.
It
was all right.
Hold
on,
wasn't
very good.
Let me get to my point.
Go for it.
Here's the deal. There have been arguably 2 major female remakes of movies so far. One was Ghostbusters Afterlife. The other was Ocean's 7 or 8. Was it Ocean's 8?
Ocean's 11, I think it was.
No.
It was Ocean's 8, yeah.
Ocean's 8,
yeah.
Okay. Both were bad. And the problem for me was that it wasn't that, first of all, Charlie's Angels was garbage because that was just garbage. That wasn't people weren't ready for a female lead. That was just a bad movie.
That was shittily written.
But my point is that when you think back to the original Ghostbusters, we're all going to do that for 2 seconds. What was really the comedic aspect of the movie?
Well, it was the 4 leads.
Thank you. It was Bill Murray.
Yeah.
It was mostly just Bill Murray being Bill Murray.
Well,
and then the rest of them played off of Bill Murray.
Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, God rest his soul, Harold.
Yes.
John Rames.
John Rames, thank you.
And then, yeah.
Yeah, but Leroy, my point is this. They were not trying to make that movie into a comedy. It was a comedy by proxy. You could have taken that movie seriously if you had 4 different actors, and maybe it would have done great because of the story. But they
might have actually not done very well because without those 4 actors.
But my point is that Leslie Jones said people weren't ready for a female-led movie. No, here's the problem. You're trying to remake a film that was funny by proxy, but you're all comedians, so you were trying to be funny for funny's sake. And that's not what Ghostbusters is. So if you had done the 4 of them doing a comedy, because I mean, Bridesmaids was incredibly successful, but Bridesmaids wasn't really playing off of anything. Maybe to a lesser degree Hangover, but it had been so long since Hangover. I think it was far enough away.
Well, yeah,
you're never gonna get far away from the original Ghostbusters because everyone's seen it and everybody loves it.
Yeah.
So to finish up my point, so we'll get to Leroy here. I don't think it's a bad idea to attempt, but what do the numbers that we can't see really tell us? Your thoughts, could this have worked? Should Vince go along with it and try it? Or does Vince have a point that he knows more than we do, so he's not even going to take the risk of losing the money?
Well, yeah, it's with the movie and everything that if you try to remake and you're kind of forcing it down your throat, it's not going to work. I mean, it's different style. Wrestling.
But it's an all-women's brand, despite the fact that women are getting bigger billing on Raw and SmackDown. Is that, in your words, forcing it down our throats then?
No, it's not a bad idea.
Okay.
But I do go right now, I don't think the audience for wrestling in the U.S. is male dominated.
Light bulb.
It is. It's so true.
Light bulb went up.
But yeah, I mean, over 90% of the fans are males.
Yeah.
You have to do something that is going to be presented to the guys.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing women's wrestling on occasion.
Right.
But not. I don't think every single week. I don't think it wouldn't pull the people.
Mm-hmm.
That they have a good mix in between.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what they are. Eventually, maybe they would. I know.
I also think maybe it kind of would almost water down those $1 million female wrestlers.
Yeah.
If you see Becky consistently every week on the same show as opposed to in a segment or two of the same show, because I hate to say it, it's going to be a lot of Becky and a lot of Charlotte, and people are already kind of tired of Charlotte.
Yeah, and it happened. I mean,
one of the best things that could have happened to Becky's career, and I'm serious, Jesse, one of the best things that could have happened to Becky's career was leaving when she did, because she was at such a peak and she left for a non-wrestling botch reason. That now there's still a demand for her. She wasn't watered down to leave like a lot of women were back in the day. She was at the top and this happened. So now, Leroy, anything else you want to add, or is that kind of
I just know that they have one in Japan.
Yeah,
that's very successful.
A couple.
But.
And I love Stardom. Don't get me wrong. I got nothing against Stardom.
But how many people are there compared to how many people in the U.S.? It's a lot. I mean, you think of Glow way back in the day. It worked.
Yeah.
But it was gimmicky and everything like that. That's not going to work now.
At least not to the level that I think Mickey was
no,
looking.
And I know she
and I'm all for
them.
Mick Foley giving support towards it. But again, numbers that only really a few people look at. Is kind of what I'm going at.
And doing some pay-per-views or shows that are geared towards...
Because I hate to say it, Jesse.
Most of the women,
Jesse, I know you have something to say, but
that.
I feel like if Evolution was highly good, they would have tried and do it a second year. But they haven't even gotten to
Actually, no, they wouldn't. But are you guys...
Yeah, I
mean... Because I wanted to take in you guys' points.
No.
But I do disagree.
Okay.
So, once again, respectfully.
Yeah.
So
even if it's disrespectful, I get it, because you know what?
I like to put that out there.
Because you know what? If I ever get the Bucks on this mic, it's going to be a lot of disrespect. Anyway.
I like people to understand when we have these discussions, we just come from different points of view and understanding of things. And that's all that is. So we understand having a respectful conversation and disagreeing.
Yeah.
So it was actually very well touted because they put on a night of actually really good women's wrestling.
I agree.
They actually built some stories to actually help elevate the event.
Oh, yeah.
And to be fair, they beat their predecessors on Saturday night. They beat Impact. They beat MLW. And I get sometimes that's just because it was WWE.
Yeah.
But while the rating wasn't as high as maybe a WrestleMania gets, the Big Four will always get a lot of ratings.
Obviously,
people always come back to watch them.
I would even say Big Five if you want to throw TLC in.
If you want to throw TLC in there, I mean that's more hardcore fans. Even if they don't watch WWE, they like to see who wins Money in the Bank. Stuff
For those
like
of you
that.
wondering, though, when he speaks Big Four, he means WrestleMania,
SummerSlam, Survivor Series, and Royal Rumble,
and the Royal Rumble.
So it actually absolutely would work. I'm going to kind of get into the minutia really quick.
Okay, yeah.
We all agree NXT and SmackDown might be the best women's divisions in American television.
I would say Raw's also up there. It's just not presented the way it could be.
And I would actually agree. Talent-wise,
yes,
WWE has the best women on the planet.
Because again, you and I have both said the shittiest women's division is AEW, but that's more the presentation.
That's the presentation,
not the talent.
Yeah.
Outside of Penelope Ford.
She's exactly where she needs to be.
Okay.
So here's why it would absolutely work. One, if you watch Raw, which you're blessed that you don't have to, but
I do.
Yeah. Do you watch it all the time?
I
watched it the next day.
I watched it on Hulu the next day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So me and you usually watch it live then, for the most part. Usually, unfortunately, the women's stuff, it's easy to get on AEW because I can look at that talent. I can see how it's used on Dark and Dark Elevation, their own shows, and go.
They're almost shooting themselves in the foot because they give you the good, but they also promote the bad.
And then they just don't promote at all on their main show.
Yeah.
See, on Raw, what'll anger you about the women's division is just there's no consistency.
I agree.
The biggest issue WWE has always had is that they usually have men booking the women's division with no help from women, and the only man that's actually been ever really good at it outside of Triple H, and that's just because he also has women like Beth Phoenix there. He had Fabulous Moolah's stuff input in the past, and say what we will about her character and all that. She understood women's wrestling.
Oh, yeah.
And where it could be, even after she was gone.
Moolah is the female version of Hogan. We can sit here and talk about Hogan being a racist, whatever.
Yeah.
We can sit.
But the influence he has had on the business is just undeniable.
Wrestling doesn't become what it is without Hogan.
And women's wrestling isn't what it is without Moolah.
Yeah.
So they have, and like I said, outside of Triple H and outside of Paul Heyman, just because I think Paul Heyman is a creative genius. The only reason to me ECW failed is that he's just not a business genius.
No, exactly.
Because the storylines he can put together are great.
Well, but we talked about it with a bunch of people. When I watch a hardcore no disqualification match in AEW, it's just to get toys out. ECW, like Gene pointed out, the weapons had a point. There was a meaning.
Everything had a meaning.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Like every little ounce of a match had meaning.
Because truth be told, even though Sabu's known for those chair spots, the chair wasn't every single moment of the match.
No.
The man put on 20-minute classics. The chair just happened to be there.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
And they're moments that you remember.
Yes.
So, but one of WWE's biggest issues, and it's what AEW is learning now, I think what Tony Khan is finally picking up on now, is as men, it's hard for us to tell their stories. Here's the minutia. So I'll get away from Stardom because everyone kind of knows about Stardom. Everyone's starting to kind of look into Stardom, and everyone should. Japan has actually done this very, very well now for 40 years as far as women's wrestling. And it's probably one of the best things they ever did was they separated their women and their men in this industry because it allowed you to actually see the talent for what it was. Britain has done it as well. So earlier I mentioned Riot Wrestling. It's called Riot now, but it used to be called Pro Wrestling Eve.
Yeah.
Pro Wrestling Eve basically said, you know what? Yeah, we had Will Ospreay because they were actually a mixed company for a long time.
Yeah.
But they split off. So Progress became Progress, and that was mostly the men. And sometimes they would have the women come wrestle the men.
Yeah.
But Pro Wrestling E, they said, we're going to mostly just promote our women.
Yeah.
Because over there, there's a big issue of there was a big issue of not having enough female wrestlers.
Yeah.
But the male fan over there actually saw what I can see now here in America, and that is, to be honest, and this is not a knock on most of the guys of male wrestlers, the female wrestlers are actually better.
Okay.
So when you actually give them time, you give them a story, they are actually just better. They just are.
So going back to my point about there's numbers that we don't
know.
No. Let me finish.
Okay.
Because it's more of a question to you.
Okay.
So going back to the numbers that I keep saying we don't see.
Yeah.
You think those numbers are not of proper booked women? Those are just numbers of what we've been doing.
So I think the numbers of Evolution.
No. Let me rephrase.
Okay.
If you booked a Becky and a Charlotte, but you booked them like Stone Cold Rock, which, yes, they did, but not to that level.
No.
Yeah. But if you really did make them the main event and you kind of, in a way, forced them down people's throats and made them the stars and gave them the booking where they were able to kind of freelance the way Rock and Stone Cold did, would they get better booking? Is that...
See, here's the thing. The reason...
Would they get better numbers?
I will say this. The way it would work So say if WWE came to me, I doubt they ever would. But Vince came to me. He was like, I heard what you said. I want to give you a shot to actually try to help.
You better take us with that.
I want you and Triple
I'm serious now.
Okay. I want you and Triple H to try to do this.
Yeah.
You guys have a year.
Okay.
I want to see progress. I would tell him, like, simply.
Well, that's on British television.
Oh, I like that. Yes. That actually threw me off for a second.
Didn't they already buy it?
That was good.
I thought that was already streaming on Peacock.
Uh-huh. But, I want to see it grow as you guys make these shows because USA is going to actually allow me to throw this on like for an hour on Thursday. Okay? I'm like, Vince, do me this solid. I need you to go to your competitor. I need you to copy the competitor. Give me at least 2 hours on the internet and then 1 hour on television.
All right.
What I also want to do is I don't want to take Beth away from her calling duties on NXT, but I want her as one of my head writers as well as Triple H.
Okay.
Because within a year, if I get the women, and yes, it kind of hurts it'll hurt SmackDown for sure to take them away.
Yeah, exactly.
But for Raw,
that's my other thing. Is that okay? Would an all women's brand essentially means Raw and SmackDown no longer have
actually no
a women's division?
They would, and that's how this works. So I would be like, well, listen, you can keep all 3 divisions having their technically all 4 divisions because NXT UK would count.
Right.
You can keep their women's champions.
That's a hell of a women's division, by the
yes.
way. Holy shit.
But what I need is a commitment to 2 hours of internet TV. Since we're running everything for Florida anyway, right?
Yeah.
I need 2 hours of internet time. I need 1 hour of TV time to promote my main stories on like the USA Network.
Okay.
And then for your Big 4 championships, allow me to help build those stories. You want to know why? Because now if I get people watching these women on YouTube for 2 hours.
Yeah.
The bigger stories continue for an hour on USA. Now when they go back to their own brands and you can continue those stories, they only have to focus on 1 or 2 women's stories.
Okay.
That means I get to get into the playground of all those talented women.
Yeah.
And produce a show that will also embarrass AEW, also embarrass your competition because you have the best women on the planet. And it's not going to be. I'll tell them like. Does it
take away from your women's show that they're kind of going on that 2 hour internet or they're going on that hour?
No.
Hear me out. Hear me out. Does it hurt your show that they're going on there and cutting a promo saying I'm going to SmackDown this Friday?
Nope.
Or I'm going to Raw this Monday?
Nope. Because on the all women's brand, that allows us to just flush out their stories.
So there's no title on your.
So basically the titles because I'm guessing the way I've read about this article now a few times.
Okay.
And the way Mickey pitched it was to just throw them all on one show, and just keep them on the one show, because on Raw it's just been a struggle. But the problem is that hurts NXT, which is actually very well women powered.
Yes.
And it does hurt SmackDown. But if we bring it
I also hate to say this. I don't know if Beth fits on the full 2 hour NXT without her expertise in their women's division.
True.
She's good, don't get me wrong, and her back and forth with Wade is actually fantastic.
Oh, yes.
But I think you're diminishing her Hall of Fame status by not having her speak on women's wrestling.
Yes, I agree. So and Triple H will love this idea because then he goes, this is perfect. Because now, whatever he builds out of these stories, the only way it hurts. So, say this is what I would do with the championships.
Okay.
The Raw and SmackDown just becomes the WWE Women's Championship again.
Okay.
But now that allows me to take one of those belts and turn it into a Intercontinental championship, a mid-card title.
Okay.
A way for me to build some of the other women.
Are you going to remove?
I also remove the NXT Women's Champion. You get one champion for 3 bands. Are you going to remove the
women's tag titles too from NXT?
We're going to remove those because Triple H was forced to do that because Vince was doing nothing with them.
True.
So for me, now I can just go, listen, the Women's Tag Team Championships, if you don't really want them on Raw or SmackDown, that's fine.
Yeah.
Triple H can use whatever story I build on NXT UK.
Okay.
Now we can do that with no problem. And now when you book women's tag matches, it doesn't even have to be about the division. It can be about whatever.
Yeah.
Now you're free to do whatever, Vince, because guess what? That's out of your hands. You don't even got to worry about it.
Right.
And I'll tell them, like, in the first 3 months, trust me, you'll like what you'll see because you'll be like, perfect. I understand I have probably the best women's division in America, maybe even in the world. Definitely top 5 in the world.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't even have to do much with it because someone else is writing the stories.
That's fair.
And on SmackDown for on SmackDown and on NXT and on Raw, I can just flesh out certain stories I like.
Okay.
And then now that cohesive unit he's always talked about that him and Triple H supposedly have.
Yeah.
Now you don't even have to worry if the women's division doesn't feel cohesive, because now with the whole brand to itself, someone else is already flushing it out. And then that does what Impact was trying to do and actually did well for about a year.
Yeah. That
puts them on such a pedestal that when they go and they watch women's matches on Impact, you're like, oh yeah, that's right. The women are actually maybe a little better than men, and the stories are great. Plus, it brings in new fans because you remember, they still kind of have a deal with ESPN. Well, ESPN is all about being inclusive, right?
Sure.
Those deals with Fox Sports, they're all about being inclusive. Mm-hmm. Well, if I can throw, say, I'll just throw her name out here. I can prop up Ember Moon.
Yeah.
Get her, a main title win off of a Charlotte and a Becky. Now, all those, main media connections we have, they're going to want Ember Moon on their show. They want to talk.
Ember Moon actually appeared on the season 19 of Hell's Kitchen.
Yes, she did.
Oh, really?
Yes. Yes, she was there.
So, and like I said, it can work. You don't, and as far as the pay-per-views are concerned, you basically, I go, listen, which matches do you guys like to use on Raw, SmackDown, and all that? Which ones, besides for the titles, do you want to use? If it's just the championship matches, that's fine. Take them for your pay-per-views because I've already fleshed out the story.
That's fair. Okay.
So it absolutely, especially for a company like WWE, it absolutely can work.
Okay. And folks, like I said, I mean, opinions are opinions, and we want all of them on the show. So I mean, that was
for that,
yeah.
I give a big applause for that. I thought it was really well done.
All right, so all right. I'm gonna take this last card that we have here, and I'm gonna kind of really throw it at you guys in a different way. So Daniel Bryan lost to Roman Reigns on SmackDown. Clean, actually.
Yeah.
Good match. Loved
Excellent.
It was so well done.
Like I tell people, I get how much of a draw of a drone watching 3 hours of Raw can be at times. That's why if you don't want to watch Raw, but you're like, man, I don't want to hate WWE, why? But you're busy on a Tuesday.
Yep.
Watch SmackDown.
Well, busy on a Friday, really.
Hell, SmackDown comes on, I think, the next day on Hulu. Just watch it Saturday morning. It's so good.
I'm going to present this to you guys right here. So I have obviously been sitting here, and I've done the research. Bryan's contract reportedly up soon.
End of the summer.
But, I'm sure they would maybe try to get something more with him unless Bryan wants to go make one more run down there in the Indies. But my biggest thing to you guys is that if Bryan, even if it's just a summer run or if it's a run long-term, a little more part-time, Raw, NXT, or NXT UK?
If any show needs him, it's Raw. But they have, the problem is they actually have good superstars. It's just nothing's fleshed out very well.
Right.
And what it sounds like is he's going down to NXT. What it sounds like is he's about to have some sort of match with Finn Balor. What it sounds like is he's going to have an NXT run until his contract is up.
Okay.
So we can kind of see some of those dream matches.
If
it was me, if I was in Vince's ear, I would give him. He would be the first wrestler I would try this with.
Okay.
I would say, here's a 4 or 5 year deal.
Hear me out.
Even
at his age.
Even at his age, you can go wrestle in other companies like you've talked about. But if you get hurt, we're not liable. So if you can't wrestle again, while you're doing that, we're not putting you in anything. But if there's a storyline that works for us, It works for whatever company you decide to go do. If he wants to say no AEW because he's Vince, that's fine. I don't care. Yeah. But as a matter of fact,
at this point,
it would do him a world of good to just be like, let them poison themselves.
At this point, I don't think. at this point, I think Vince has just stopped caring. If I
was a business partner of Vince, I'd be like, listen, we'll send some. Well, you know what? Let's open that door with these guys. Just to prove like you thought you could compete against us, and now you have to work with us just to survive. And the only reason I would do that is because if they rise, we rise. Wrestling rises, and I like that. I like the thought of money.
I hate to say it, not to run this into another shit on AEW segment, but guys, you've shown 3 times now that you go up above $1 million and you come right back down.
But anyway, even with how bad Raw is, it stays above $1 million.
Yep. Yeah. But okay. I mean, I feel like at this point, if Brian wanted to become the American Dragon one more time, I think it'd be a huge boost to whatever company he was in. The problem is, I don't know if the ROH audience is the same ROH audience.
I don't think they are.
I don't know if New Japan would give him the run he deserves.
See, the problem with New Japan is right now, the main event scene is so heavy.
Right.
Well, and just as far as like how good all the talent is up there, so I don't know, going back for him would be a good idea.
So this whole thing that
Pro Wrestling Noah maybe.
Yeah.
But New Japan, he would just get lost in the shuffle.
Right. So this whole thing about Daniel having this one last big run not in WWE, I feel like the world has passed that by. I'm serious. This is to me like Taker and Sting. It's better left to what we could have seen as opposed to what we would see. Because I feel like, I hate to say it, he's proud of those bingo hall days.
Oh, yeah.
But folks, this is like Albert Pujols trying to hold on and signing a minor league deal. You're Albert Pujols. You go home.
Yeah.
You don't go to the minor leagues. I just think that he's had such an impact, and he's had such a run, and such a story.
I will say I did disagree with Brian because he did an interview before the
saying that people should go on excursion more.
No, he was saying
that part you probably agree with.
He was in his praise of Kenny Omega.
Yes,
he was saying that he thinks the biggest problem with Kenny Omega is people don't get it. Brian, I listen, because he helped Kenny come up.
Yeah.
There's just no doubt about that. Without Daniel Bryan Kenny, you don't exist, and I think Kenny knows that.
Yeah.
But it's not that he's trying new things and it's controversial, Daniel. I'm done calling you Daniel since your career. I'm calling you Mr. Bryan and Mr. Danielson, sir, because you've earned my respect that much. It's the fact that Kenny Omega has failed to understand what your current boss understands, and what I know you understand because he's been the head of his own creative for a while now, Daniel Bryan. Kenny doesn't get it. There's nothing wrong with trying new things, but they have to make sense. But as far as these final days of his, like I said, I have a feeling what'll end up happening is he's going to just quickly make the rounds. He's not going to work a lot of matches.
No.
He's going to work some big matches, some great paydays.
Yeah.
And then he'll try to call it after that because there's a Legends contract waiting for him for WWE.
I hate to say it. I think even though he is the king of that and he sort of opened that door, to me it's him, not CM Punk. Nothing against what Punk did.
Yeah.
But I just think Daniel reached a level of success that whether or not Punk says I'm the reason you're there, which Punk probably is, Daniel got to the main event of WrestleMania.
It's not.
He somehow convinced them to get him there. My thing is as much as I love the Indies, it would be like seeing, and I'm not saying that it'd be this sad because there was obviously other stuff going on. It would almost feel Yokozuna like.
Yeah.
To see Daniel Bryan go back to an indie show. Maybe
not even Yokozuna like. Does anyone remember that photo from 4 years ago of Virgil sitting at a convention center? The sad Virgil photo.
Yeah.
Because he just it almost like it's dawned on him like, well, this is what my career is reduced to. But it's crazy because for me, I was just like, Virgil, you don't really need to do those to make money. I mean, maybe he's not much of a talker. That's why I never did the start a podcast thing.
Yeah.
But like, you can always go tell your stories, do tours telling your wrestling stories. You can make plenty of money doing that.
But it's just, I feel like, I don't know. I'm not looking forward to the American Dragon in ROH in 2021. I'm not looking forward to the American Dragon making the rounds in New Japan because, like I said,
my only problem with him going to ROH is there's not a lot of dream matches there anymore.
No.
The Briscoes are still there, thank God.
But I think even the Briscoes are kind of at that point where like
they're getting up there.
Yeah. I just don't know.
RPO, RC, something like that. I'm sorry, guys. I'm forgetting his name.
Yeah, it's not.
He's old now.
It's not the same ROH.
No,
it's just not.
No.
I mean, because we don't know what Samoa Joe's future is, and we won't know, unfortunately, for at least a couple more months because he did have a 90-day contract.
So and so it's like, folks, it's not that I don't want Daniel to get what he wants. I just don't know if it's what makes sense.
I don't know what his future is.
You've not only been to the mountaintop, which everyone says is a world title. Bro, you were at the main event of WrestleMania. You closed WrestleMania.
He's still the biggest baby face in their company, probably.
Of all time. Arguably.
And like I said, because I've been listening to him talk a lot about, if what's coming if he decides to just let the contract expire. And I mean, listen, the truth is, he could always just take his ball and go be a fucking father because he's great at it already.
Yeah.
He's a very good man. He'd go manage some businesses up there in Washington and be happy. I'm sure he would. Take over some of his father's old businesses. Just go buy him back up there in Washington.
He's got the money.
Because he's got the money.
Somebody will pay him for something. Oh, yeah. I'll tell you that much.
But as far as, people are like, oh, man, like AEW for what? To fight Kenny, who clearly doesn't know what the fuck he's doing with his career at this point. We've already seen him against Jericho. The better matches already happened in WWE.
Once again, I'll say this.
Yes, we didn't get to see him against Christian, but that's just because at the time Christian had to retire.
Yeah.
So we didn't get to see that.
Once again.
And by the way, we didn't even talk about Christian.
Yeah.
Mr. Outwork, everyone.
Hasn't worked a day on AEW television yet.
The dude got his ass whooped for fucking 8 minutes and then hit one Unprettier and one kill switch.
Thank you.
And one.
Thank you. Honestly, I think we need to actually. I do want to delve into the Kenny situation on a future show. I know that might be the biggest can of worms that I could ever open up on this show, but I do want to delve into that.
I'm sorry, did you say can of worms? Do you mean black hole in the earth?
Yeah, it might be a closer one there.
Right. But anyway, Jesse, once again, thank you for your
of course.
Thank you for your contradictory stuff, which is always great to hear.
Yes.
Leroy, once again, it's been a great year. Here's to another start, to a whole other one.
Year number 2 going.
Jesse's going to be here for the rest of this
while,
run.
Yeah,
it's going to be here a while.
That's my plan.
Ladies and gentlemen, also, very soon we are working out the details. Look forward to Jay's take on the 13-card Subject to Change YouTube channel. Jesse will still be streaming through his Twitter.
Through Twitch. So twitch.tv /theblackness89. Now, because of some deaths recently, I took the week off. But starting next Friday, it's back.
Jesse will be taking the wrestling takes he has and splicing them into a fun little stuff for our YouTube channel. So look forward to Jesse being able to do that. Jesse will still be doing it live on Twitch. They will be on the YouTube channel whenever he gets a chance to upload it.
Yeah.
But and yes, they will be specific to just his wrestling takes. We're going to be splicing the videos into more than just the wrestling takes for now. Hopefully, Jesse and I can be on the Blackness here coming up. I can't wait to get that working out.
We got to get that planned out. We were going to originally try to do the draft, but we just kind of enjoyed the draft. Yeah.
So anyway, from all of us here at 13 Card Subject Change, there are wrestling shows coming down the line. We'll be talking a little bit about those here in the coming months. Darren Corbin is back. Can't wait to keep following that news. That's going to be a fun little time for our show.
I mean, if him and Eric can't, do we have to call Vince and be like, you got to let them borrow Hell in a Cell? I mean, is that where we're heading with him and Eric Cannon?
I want to see those two one-on-one in the Elimination Chamber. But the classic,
oh my God, yes.
the classic
one.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, thank you all so much for listening. Once again, you can find us on Spotify. You can find us on iTunes. We are on Amazon Music. You can find us on YouTube at 13 Card Subject Change Podcast. You can find us, of course, always on Podomatic.com. We apologize for last week's episode not getting up. Technology is technology. But Leroy will triple save this particular episode before he uploads it.
We got to help our 200 people that are over 200 people that are following us and liking us.
Get your friends to join as well.
Facebook.
Tell them to join.
And like I
YouTube.
said, there's 205 of you on Facebook. Let's get 205 of you on YouTube as well. Thank you all so very much. We'll all see you guys next time.